What is good, TPA podcast? It's your boy Big Holla. We are back, and I got a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Trinity. That's what I go by, Trinity.
Okay. So what do you do these days?
I work. I work at a hotel, and then I'm trying to, start my own YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay. So how is working in like the hotel industry?
It's how do I put this? It's tricky.
What you mean?
Because like the hotels that you would think, oh, they're 5-star, 4-star, they'll still have like 2-star employees, like the service.
So do you consider yourself like a 2-star employee?
No, I consider myself a 5-star employee. I'm very professional.
What makes somebody like a 2-star employee?
Really like loud and like drama, a lot of drama, and don't know how to talk to the customers, right?
I never really talk to like hotel staff when I go. I kind of just like check in and that's it.
Exactly, because you're a guest. But if you actually work at a hotel, then you're like, how is this? You'll be wondering, how is this a 4 or 5-star hotel? Like, because it's.
Have you only worked at like one hotel out here?
I worked at 2.
So what was the other hotel you worked at, not the one you currently work at?
The other one, it was worse.
Really?
It was worse.
What are some of the things that happen like as a hotel employee?
As a hotel employee, you just have to, you get cursed at a lot because people are really impatient. And it's like working front desk. The front desk takes in everything. So if housekeeping don't do their job, front desk get yelled at. If engineering doesn't do their job, front desk get yelled at. So it's like it can be overwhelming just for that one person.
What is engineering? What do they do?
You tell me. Like that's that exactly. What do they do? What do they do? They're supposed to be fixing stuff, but
so like the people who like fix like the AC in the bathrooms and stuff like that. That's tough. Have you ever like? What are the guests like when? Obviously, you said they be like yelling and stuff sometimes, but do you ever? Because I remember one time I went to a hotel with the girl I dated at the time. And I made a joke with like the staff, and they were like, "Oh, are y'all together?" I was like, "No, my wife's at home." Like, do you ever have people walk in and you're like, "Okay," and just kind of?
I mean, yeah. We get all types of people. We get domestic violence. We've had a couple, but we don't get involved with it. We're not allowed to because it's like one time there was a couple that came in fighting, like came down out of the elevator yelling at each other. We can't get involved in that stuff because if we do and she goes back to him, it's like, dang, we just wasted so much time, and she goes in the car with him after he just punched her in the face. So it's like, that's why we don't get involved in that stuff.
Is it like y'all's policy or like y'all just don't?
We just don't. I don't know if it's a policy to not get involved, but we don't at all. We're not calling the police. Like, I mean, if we have to call the police, yes, but we're not gonna go up to the room and try to get her out, try to save her. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
You're not calling like the police or nothing?
No.
That is so crazy. I only seen like domestic violence in the hotel one time. I was in this place called Valdosta, right?
Okay.
And I was there for like a graduation, and like it was this couple. They had like 3 kids in the room too. And they came into the hallway and they were like boxing. I'm really? Like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, I don't get involved in that stuff at all.
For real?
At all.
So what made you want to start YouTube?
What made me want to start, like seeing all these other people do it, and it's like they're good. Not there's bad and good, but then seeing that I'm like, I can do better. Like I can do something. I can really like, if I really put myself out there and be consistent, I could do better than that. Like, because there are some, how there's some YouTube channels you cannot watch all the way. Like you can watch a few, you'll skip through it, but I want to be that channel that you can watch the entire thing and it's entertaining all the way. Okay,
so who are some of the people that you watched and you was like, I could do better than that?
Ooh, I could do better than that. I don't really remember their names really, just because I don't watch them consistently. Like I just saw it and I was like, okay, I can do better than that.
How do you search like the videos you want to watch? Like, what do you watch on YouTube?
I love ASMR.
Really?
Yes. I love ASMR. Like,
You were the first person I've ever met that watches ASMR.
I love it. Like, I have to, like, I watch before I go to sleep. It's so calming. It's so calming. That and really the only two things you constantly see me watch, or the only three things I would say, politics, more so like Candace Owens. I don't know if you who that is.
Mm-hmm.
I watch her, and then ASMR and rain sounds for sleeping.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like politics on the internet?
How do I feel? On the internet, I feel like it's going to be biased regardless. I just feel like we shouldn't allow social media to necessarily tell us what we should or should not believe, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like people they're not educated on certain stuff, so they feel like they have to agree with everybody else, because if you disagree, you have to be educated on it. So I just feel like when it comes to politics, no one actually knows what's going on.
Yeah, man.
No one actually knows what's going on, but because they watch TikTok, and because TikTok talks about, that stuff, that makes them think that they know. Yeah.
I would say that is like 100% correct, because like the higher, I don't want to say the higher because that's like a misconception, but I feel like the more involved with the world that you become, you'll realize like how much people don't know. Exactly. And like how much is like smoke screen and clipped out of context for this group, but we'll clip this part for this group and clip this part for that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you get like, because I know a lot of people, how do I phrase this question? All right, a lot of people, you had like the T.I. situation with like Candace Owens, right? A lot of black people, right? Will disagree with certain people who believe certain things. Do you ever get like that pushback with those beliefs?
For me, not really, just because I don't really talk about it with other people, just because I feel like you can't have a conversation if you disagree with someone. You can't have a civilized conversation if you disagree. So? Not anymore. Like, that, don't get me wrong, there are times where you meet someone, you can have a civilized conversation about your disagreements, but I feel like now it's like, if I disagree with something and disagree with something that everyone agrees with, you can't have a civilized conversation, because they're automatically like, you're this, you're that. You feel like, I just feel like, even though we're supposed to have freedom of speech, I feel like you don't have it no more.
Yeah, I don't know, like, because I like challenging conversations. I like having conversations with people, like, to understand people's viewpoint, because really, like, the only reason they believe it is because of the reality and their perception of the world. Yeah. So I be trying to figure out, like, what made you believe this at the end of the day. So I get it though. Twitter, and I didn't understand that till COVID hit, because I thought like everybody had my level of like education. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? This should be easy. So I'm reading things on the internet. I'm like, your biology class didn't teach you this? Like, and that's when I realized like a lot of people have opinions with like so little information. It's crazy. Very
much so. I think I saw something that said like this generation is taught to have their own opinion, but they're not taught to know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah. Like they're okay, yeah, you can say whatever, do whatever, but have no real reason or to back up why they're saying what they're saying.
Yeah. So, what year were you born?
2002.
Dang, that's crazy.
2002.
But I think like your because how old do you think I
am? In Atlanta, the youngest that they look, the older they typically are. That's what I've like kind of noticed. What? So like when I see like younger looking guys out here, they end up being like 30.
Hold up. So I look young?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Everybody has always told me I look older, like even when I was younger. Yeah.
No, you look about, I want to say 23, 25.
28.
Okay. See, look, that always happens.
I say that though because like when we grew up, like my generation, we had like the introduction of like technology, right? So I feel like there was a lot of people who never had voices that now have voices to say things and influence people. I feel like the younger generation, like 2000 up, you know what I'm saying? I feel like y'all know how to filter through the information a little bit more, but like our generation has so many people who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, y'all are young, y'all don't know what y'all are talking about. I think that's where like the disconnect comes from. Maybe you could tell me what you think though.
I'm a bitch. I hate my generation.
Really?
Yes, it's just so inauthentic. Like I just feel like everyone does what everyone like. No one wants to be original. No one wants to think differently. No one wants to do differently. Everyone wants to do and think the same. And if you don't, then you're a bad person.
You think so?
I think so.
I think maybe did you go like outside as a child?
I went outside. I was outside all the time. Okay.
Because like that's always the critique. Like y'all never go outside anymore. I feel like my generation, like I feel like my like when I was in high school, we were like the last people, at least in my area, to like really be outside like that. Because like people started getting money, people started buying video games, kids stopped going outside more. Like when we were young, like we ain't have no games. Nigga. You better go dribble a basketball or something.
Yeah. It's technology. I feel like technology influenced everything. I feel like it's good and it's bad. I feel like it's good when you want to promote businesses. It's good if you want to, put yourself out there for good reasons. But I feel like people use it for bad now. They use it to influence those to think like them.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of your opinions that you feel like are unpopular?
Ooh.
I'm gonna see if we can have a conversation. That's what we.
So my unpopular opinion, I don't think it's cute to be a baby mama.
You think that's unpopular? I
mean, I feel like now they've kind of made marriage look like bad, and so they've kind of glamorized being a baby mama.
I would say like if you look on the internet, you might believe that, but like when you go outside, I don't see that. Like I see a lot of people like trying to find love.
Really? No, I only hear people. Marriage it's just a pen in the paper. It's just a pen in the paper. That's all I hear.
I think because like those people don't have the character yet development to be married. Yeah. So they talk about it, but the people who actually have the character, they're just going to get married.
Exactly.
So I feel like sometimes like what you hear can fool you of like what the world actually is. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I don't think being a baby mama is like a thing people want to be. I don't think so.
But it is. It is. I truly believe it is. Like, especially if you are having sex, if you're having sex, people completely forget that getting pregnant, when that sperm meets that egg, regardless of a condom or birth control, it can be less likely or very likely for you to get pregnant. Like, we were made to reproduce. That's what sex was for. And so when it comes to people who get pregnant and stuff, and they're not married, like, you don't want to be a baby mama, really. Like,
I mean, but you gotta think like some people is their level of education though, and I will say that like I grew up in a place where I learned about like condoms and stuff way before I had sex, right? And but there are some people who don't have that. Like their health teacher is their PE teacher, like that don't really know health, but like, hey, volunteer, teach these kids about. You don't really have a specialist to tell you. A lot of people are in church. Church don't teach you these things either, right? They teach you just don't have sex. Where come on, we're kids. Like, kids are gonna explore things if they're not guided in the right place. Yeah. So, I think, I can't really fault people who don't have the information. Now, the people who do have the information and choose to live on the wild side, maybe they just have the. If you come from a place where you have that information, you probably also are adjacent to having the finances to be able to shoulder the load of having a child in your life. So, yeah.
I think it's just a generational pattern.
What you mean?
It's a generational curse, honestly. Like, it's like, it starts from, the mom, having, sex outside of wedlock, sleeping with, a man who clearly, most of the time, especially now, women know when men aren't good for them. Women know, especially with social media. Men tell them, people reveal themselves easy. My grandma always said, don't get caught with your pants down. they get caught with their pants down all the time. And it's like people say, "Oh, well, he was a wolf in sheep's clothing." He was never a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was always a wolf. It was always like, for instance, Summer Walker. For instance, he has how many baby mamas?
True.
He has how many baby mamas? The baby mamas been warned her, and it's like women think, "Oh, I'm different. He's not gonna do me the way he did them. He's not gonna cheat on me, even though he cheated on all them, cause I'm different. I'm cute. My coochie, I got that wop." So she thinks she's gonna be treated differently, and then next thing you know, he do the same thing to her.
But you know what's crazy about that though? Like Jesus probably never thought Judas would give him up, right? But he did, and that was Jesus.
But I'm saying there's already signs.
Yeah.
There's already signs, but you think you're different.
But some people just don't know yet. Like
but they do. That's the thing. See, look, this is what people do wrong, where they don't hold women accountable for certain stuff. It's clearly he already showed he wasn't shit. He already showed right off the bat. It wasn't red flags. It was billboard signs, like billboard.
Did you grow up in like the suburbs?
Not really.
So what was like the population density of where you grew up at?
Mostly like I want to say mostly Hispanics.
Well, no, not like the demographic, right. Like did you grow up in like apartments? Was it like a neighborhood? Was it
I grew up I started off living with my grandma because my parents had me as teenagers. So we lived with my grandma, and then my parents got married after they had my little brother, and so we were in an apartment for a bit, and then they bought a house.
Okay, like so even like having a 2-parent household puts you ahead of like a lot of the people who end up making these mistakes, right? So when you grow up in a 2-parent household, you get to see the conflict and determine like these people have to come to an agreement. When you live in a household with a single parent, you see one person get it one way all the time because they're the only leader in this place, right? And a lot of times when you are in a single parent household, you're probably usually in a place like an apartment or something like that where kids get to go outside and be kids when their family's not there. So you start to have certain acceptance to certain things that you probably wouldn't have had there been another parent in the house too.
Exactly.
So I can't blame them because the learning that I got to do from a 2-parent household, they didn't get to do. So you develop like I'm trying to think of the word to say, but you develop these things in your mind that this is okay.
Exactly.
And what is okay.
It's a generational thing. Exactly. But at the same time, you can't use that as an excuse. Because there's a lot of stuff that people aren't taught. But what do you do when you're not taught something? You learn.
Yeah, but
people go on the internet and Google how to do anything else. Why can't you Google, how should I start off to love myself?
But I'll put it like this, all right? People don't know what they don't know. Like,
exactly.
and I used to be like that too. I went through like the phase when I was like 21, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I really know more than everybody. Like, they don't know what they're talking about, right? But then you get to, once you meet more people, you'll realize like, I had no idea about this perspective. I didn't know enough about this perspective to judge somebody based on like what they happen to do, because everybody has characteristics about them that could be fixed.
Yeah, no one's perfect,
right?
Yeah.
And then like the thing about the internet is if you grow up in a single parent household, the chances of you being able to have college paid for is way lower than everybody else's. And what college does is it teaches you how to learn. So when you say Google, right? Google how to better yourself. Google is going to take all the information from your phone and say, what is the best content to show you to keep you on Google? They're not going to show you the best information.
No, I meant when I said like, okay. I mean, you know how you can YouTube to see if there are people who relate to you, if there are people who have been through, you can go to people in person and ask them, but not everyone's going to be like, do you know how to love yourself? Can you teach me? So that's why I said, for me personally, I went through a really hard time in my life, especially because I moved out here by myself. So I fell into this deep depression and stuff. And honestly, like going on YouTube and finding these different motivational, these people who went through the same stuff as me when it came to depression, and they were able to, you know, to show, oh, this is how I did it. And it doesn't hurt to try those things. It may not necessarily actually work for you, but it doesn't hurt to try, because you put yourself out there to be willing to learn something. So
I think YouTube is just because YouTube will feed you exactly what you want to eat. Like that's the bad part, right? Because if you don't know how to look at somebody and say, this is a good arbiter of information, then you can fall down a rabbit hole like that will have you believing things, because at the end of the day, content creation is for profit, right? Like I tell everybody, I could hop on here and have what do women bring to the I could have that conversation but that's not quality conversation. That's going to eventually die out. But when people are in that age group where they're like, how do I keep getting my heart broken by these dudes? And you go find a B. Simone, sorry, you know what I'm saying? But like, when you indulge in that content, it's so it's not real. Like, it's funny for sure, you're entertaining, but you're not giving people good information. So I feel like a lot of people fall into that, and the world becomes more divided, because it's going to, whatever road you're headed down is going to give you that content. So you may click on somebody who is having a conversation like this, very subtle. It's not that entertaining. You don't watch the whole thing, right? So you may click off this video, go on another video, somebody way more impulsive with what they say, and they say a lot of catchy things that stick in your mind. When you watch that whole video through, YouTube's going to recommend you another video that's just like that, right? Where the information might not have been better, but you watched it more. So that's what we're going to recommend you. So it's a scary thing. And once you realize that, you'll realize how people have such bad perspectives on the world using the internet.
That can go with anything. That can go not just YouTube. That can go with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Like, even that stuff at your home, at your place, that can go with anything.
Yeah, I think like people should watch like documentaries, because it's a lot harder to like lie in a documentary than it is on a YouTube video.
I mean, it's all editing, right? You can edit, you can filter anything. So I think.
What you mean?
You said like with documentaries, it's harder to lie. You can lie anywhere.
Yeah, you can, but like when you have a certain accreditation, that's why colleges, they want you to come to college. That's what they're really trying to get you to do, is go to the library, read it for yourself. That's people, they don't want to read nothing for themselves.
Yeah.
But the closest I feel like you get to people who read it and will give you valuable information is college. Then after that, in film would be documentaries. So do you think, so when it comes to books, so instead of going on YouTube on how to find love and all that, you would suggest reading about it? For sure. Because like the reason some people are so good at manipulating people is because once you kind of realize how the brain works, you could get I literally read a book called How to Get Anybody to Do Anything, right? And if you read that book, there's people who are going to take that book and use it for bad, for sure. There's going to be people who take that book and use it for good. But it's all subconscious things that people do. So it'll teach you how to read conversations with people. When people cross their arm, I never knew I was like a defensive person, right? Because I always used to talk to people with my arms crossed, how my body turned. These are all subconscious things that we don't consciously do, but they're also indicators to people who know how to read them to do that. But you're not going to learn that on like a dating YouTube video or a how to make friends YouTube video.
But what if that can be the same thing? Someone who has a YouTube channel that wrote a book.
But people aren't watching those people, because usually,
how do you know?
Because usually people's expertise is normally in one field, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. If you're a master at psychology, communications might not be your best feat because you're a good writer. Like, so a lot of people talk about like Dr. Fauci during COVID, right? Oh, he said this, but he said his expertise isn't communication. It's science. So he may not know how to say the right words to explain it to the layman person, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's talking about. And like that, just like I mentioned how like somebody can have content but it be boring so nobody watches it. The person who wrote a book probably is going to be that person. So they're going to be their video is going to be on YouTube, but will it get promoted? Are people watching it all the way through for the algorithm to boost that specific video? Probably not. Right.
But I see people who do, you know, those things on YouTube and get millions of views, millions of hundreds, thousands of comments.
Yeah.
You know, under. So I think it could be the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's really like luck of the draw with YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
Like whoever makes because the difference with books or accredited websites is YouTube is always going to show you what is going to perform best in front of you. The objective of a business, people always want to throw morality on businesses. Their only objective is to make money. Right. Whatever will increase the bottom line. Sometimes doing unethical things can hurt your bottom line. So that's why they don't do them. But at the end of the day, we are optimizing money, not quality. Right? So once you realize that, you have to go to the places that optimize quality, and that's libraries for sure.
Don't books sell?
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that, you know, when people write books and they're published and stuff, don't they make money?
Yeah.
Books?
But you also have to be a certain level of accreditation to be in certain sections of the library. You have to pass like a board for us to even put your book in our library. Now, if it's nonfiction, and that's why there's certain categories, nonfiction, fiction, what's the one that the encyclopedia and all of that stuff is in? You have that section. There's the sci-fi section. You have these, and you have to fit certain criteria to make it in here, because you could write a book about the Great Depression, but it could be a nonfiction book. That could go in here, but I just want the people to know this is this is fiction. It's not real. Yeah. That is, they can see it. What you don't know what is in the fiction, nonfiction section when you go on YouTube. You don't know. Yeah. So books sell, but I think that's why Amazon is going to promote the best book for you to buy, not the best book for the quality.
Yeah. The point that I was just trying to get across was if for those who, if you don't love yourself and you weren't taught and you didn't see those influences to find a way. It doesn't have to be just on the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
You could read a book about how to love yourself, but I meant if you don't know, learn. If you don't know, learn. That's just the point that I was trying to make.
I think you have a good initiative. I would just say there's like a lot of people who haven't, like, some people move so fast in life, and I see it. I think I moved fast, but I feel like I had enough of a stable living situation growing up that I was moving fast in what I consider to be the right direction. Right. But I can see how with a few couple tweaks in my life, I could have been moving fast in an extremely wrong direction. Right. And I think a lot of people want to take credit for where they get to. That's like the human nature. Like, I did this, right? But a lot of it is luck. A lot of life is luck.
You think so? I don't believe in luck. I believe in blessings and curses. I feel like there's no such thing as luck. Stuff that happens, it's going to happen for a reason. It was bound to happen anyway. It was meant for you specifically. There's no such thing as luck, to me personally. And I think God purposely does stuff on purpose. Like, say for instance, what are some things that people would consider luck?
Being born into a 2-parent household.
That's not luck. I personally don't think that's luck. You think it's luck?
How did you have any influence onto what house you were born into?
Jesus. I didn't have any. I didn't do that. I personally think God did that, like, for me specifically. Like, okay. I think everything, like I said, I think everything happens for a reason. I don't think someone who was born in a 2-parent household, oh, you're lucky. No, I'm blessed, honey, because not everyone has the opportunity.
So is the other person unblessed then?
I mean, for like I said, for me, people would consider me, like you said, people consider, like, so I consider it blessed. I don't consider you unlucky, or I don't consider you cursed if, you know, you weren't born into person household. But for me, I feel like it is a luxury. It is a blessing to be born in a 2-parent household. And if you weren't first, I think you weren't for a specific reason. Your journey is different.
It's so hard, like, though, to like, because the things that you go through will set you on a path that is very predictable. That's how people predict that's why teachers say, oh, this kid is gonna end up here, this kid is gonna end up there. Because once you see so many kids go through the full story of their life, you can kind of tell what's gonna happen. So even with a 2-parent household, that is like the number one indicator of whether, like, the number one indicator to see if somebody is going to be filtered into like the prison pipeline is being in a single parent household. That's I took this class called quantitative analysis in college, and it's one of the most important classes I ever took, because it tells you how, like, the value of each thing that goes into something, right? So like this house, right? How did it end up this much money? People will look at it, this is pretty big, it must be this much. Where that's really not the key indicator of how much a place is. How close it is to a major city is a higher indicator. How close it is to the highway is a major indicator. How many grocery stores are within a certain radius. These are things that are all more important than the square footage. But people have been taught, like, this amount of money should get me this square footage. So it teaches you how predictable, like, being in certain circumstances can be based on certain variables.
Yeah, but I think it's honestly what you make it, because I was born in a 2-parent household, but there are plenty of people born in a 2-parent household who still do the complete opposite of what, you know, who will still have kids out of wedlock. Who still, I could have had kids out of wedlock. I could have been a baby mama. I could have did the same thing, because once again, my mom had me when she was not married. She had me at 15 years old. So they did not get married until they were like, what, 19, 20? I could have said, oh, well, my mom was a my mom was a baby mama. My I could say, oh, well, my mom, was, a baby mom for a minute. So then during that time, that's all I saw for years. Oh, so I feel like it's most definitely what you make it. Because there have been plenty of times where I have been in a situation where I could have had sex and I could have gotten pregnant. But it's that conscious, for me personally, it's that voice in the back of my head saying, if you already know what somebody went through and it put them through hell, why would you want to do that to yourself? Even though you weren't taught, even though you weren't raised in a 2-parent household, you weren't, but you saw how your mom, being a baby mama, how she was stressed out, how she was messed up in the head, how she took out her anger on, people, how she was sad and depressed and felt lonely. Why would you want to put yourself through that?
True. But there's some people who also, they could have had a mother like that. That the way they took out their anger on their child actually scarred them in a way where they ran into the world to actually find a place like that they felt. That's what all kids want to do, is feel loved, right? At the end of the day. Like, so that could have pushed them into running out there to be taken advantage of by people who take advantage of people. Exactly. Right? So, but is it the kid's choice? Did the kid choose that?
But I'm not talking about a kid. I'm talking about I'm talking about adults. When you're a kid, yes, there's a lot of stuff that when you're a child, half of the stuff in life you can't choose. I'm talking about when you become an adult, when you are old enough to make your own decisions. That's what I'm talking about.
What age do you think that is?
When you're not when your parents are no longer in position to, because usually if they're paying rent, if they're paying bills, they're most likely going to have control over a lot of stuff. I'm talking about people who don't live with their parents, or it can be 15, 16, honestly. Now that I think about it, 15, 16, where you're able to hear that voice in the back of your head, that intuition telling you no. That voice telling you, no, don't do it, don't touch. Even little kids know. When a little kid, this is why kids are so special, because kids have common sense, actually. Kids have common sense where You tell Tommy, I don't know where I came with Tommy, but you tell
Yeah.
Tommy, don't touch that fire. Don't touch that fire. And he still touch it. He burned himself. He never touched it again. With adults, they will touch it, get burned each and every time, and still continue to touch it. They will continue to touch the fire. That's why I feel like kids have common sense, which makes it so completely ass backwards. Because as adults, we have every choice. We have everything. What people don't understand is everything in life is a choice for us. We can choose to do so much in life, but what people don't understand is the choices that we make in life come with consequences, and that's when people get upset. That's when people blame the world when they have to go through the consequences of their choices.
There's gonna come a point, right, where, because like I said, I went through this too. I was like the, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna do the right thing, you know what I'm saying, person too, right? And it did get me to quality places. I will say this road traveled is a lot better than feeling like you're not doing the right thing. But you will realize in a couple years, right, that I didn't have as much as control as I thought I did.
But
right?
we do.
You don't.
We don't have control on the outcome.
Yeah.
But we have control. We may not have. We have. How do I put this? We have control on everything I do, everything that comes out of my mouth. I control that.
Okay, let me rephrase what I said. You will understand that you didn't have as much control as you thought you did becoming this kind of person. That's what I mean.
I think
so.
you do.
But how though? If not, like, most of the things that are ingrained in you are ingrained in you, like, before memories that you can't even remember. Right? So a lot of people wonder why, like, dudes have this I got to do it myself mentality. Well, if you look at it, when you were 2 years old, you and your brother had two different experiences when y'all were 2 years old, maybe, for the most part, right? You know what I'm saying? Trinity falls down. It's, oh my God, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? Stop crying. You're going to be good. That's that's the typical way that society has treated little girls. Little boys, Tommy falls. Tommy, get up, dust your knee off.
Right.
So you have already set these two people on a very particular track before they even had a chance to live. And this is just how you're treating them as a child, right? There are certain traumas, even words that people hear could be so deep rooted in trauma that happened to them as a kid that you can't even understand why this makes you feel that way, right? A lot of it, I went to this cave, right? And they had like salamanders in there. And they had like a pool where the salamanders used to drink from. And people used to throw pennies in it. And those pennies eroded away inside the thing. So now salamanders used to come get sick drinking the water, so they stopped coming. And it was so ingrained in the salamanders, it was passed off genetically, that trauma from drinking there, that the salamanders don't even come there no more. Like, so when you realize that, like, even when somebody's pregnant, the conditions that they're under are very predictive of your trauma starts before you even breathe your first breath in this world. Right. So like, if you're under certain trauma, there's certain things once you're born that your brain is already programmed to work a certain way. And a lot of this stuff happens. The more you dig into like how your brain works, you'll realize like, dang, you're really a product of what you went through. You didn't become this product. Most of it is a lot of the stuff that you went through before you even were conscious that you were going through stuff.
So you think you because I should have like gotten pregnant, and
no,
because everyone,
that's not what I mean.
My mom is the only I'm just trying to get, so because my mom is the only one who's been married. Everybody else from generation, her sisters, baby mamas, my grandma, my grandma was never married. So it's like that could have been in my genetics. Almost every of the women in my family have had sex with multiple people. So basically, how do I put it? Being a hoe, basically in genetics, right? So should I have been a hoe?
I mean, if your parents were never married, right? Again, if all of the other relatives were not married and you were born into the household, that even though they weren't married when they had you, you still grew up in a 2-parent household with your parents together.
Exactly, because my parents chose to get married.
So was it you that made these choices that broke the generational curse, or did your parents break it?
My parents, because she had that choice. That's
Exactly.
what I'm saying. That's what the point that I'm getting at.
But
we have choices. The choices we make. My mom could have not gotten married. My parents could not have gotten married. They could have broken up. I was gonna get aborted. She could have made that choice.
Yeah.
Her choice to get my parents' choices to get married changed that generation.
But see, your mother was lucky, right?
No,
listen,
she was not.
No, let me tell you why she was lucky though. A lot of people are taking advantage of at 15. It's very well that your dad stepped up to the plate and did what he needed to do, but it's 100% likely that she could have been with the guy who said, "Nigga, I'm not taking care of this kid." Like it's 2 people coming together. That's why they call it marriage, one flesh. That's why they say these things. Is because though your mom wanted to make a conscious effort to raise you in a 2-parent household, your dad, like everybody else who was a baby mother, your dad could have walked away and said, "Look, I'm too young for this. I'm straight. I don't want to marry you. I don't even know if I want to be with you for the rest of my." It's very well that could have happened too. It's just as likely because at 15 you don't really know what you're doing.
I think you do. At 15.
Do you think your mom understood the consequences for the rest of her life when she was 15?
You can understand. That's what people only think in the moment. People are never really conscious of the future. The only time people are conscious of the future is when they have to go through that consequence. So with her getting pregnant, no, maybe she didn't think, oh snap, I'm going to be a whole mom for 18 years.
Exactly.
But at the same time, her choices, she chose to have sex in impulse. That's her personal choice. That was her choice. But I feel like, once again, them getting married, that was a choice.
And again, you also have to look at, this is where people get stuck in time periods, right? That's why they call people old heads and stuff like this, is because you also have to understand your parents didn't grow up with the same education level that you did, right? So the things that you knew, that you're understanding, they may have not understood at 15.
That's where I got it from.
What you mean?
Who I am now is because of my parents. The way I think, the way I talk is because of my parents. My grandmother, my dad's mom. My dad did grow up. I don't know when did they get married? I don't know when my grandparents on my dad's side got married, but yeah.
Some of it's just education, right? And you will hope that society progresses and is better equipped to educate more people. That's where but when you go backwards, that's why certain people can only perceive the world going forwards, where they start and forwards. That's all they can see. Some people never look back, because when you look back, you could see the cause and effects, and you can predict what's coming next, right? That's when a lot of people, we get thrown into this cycle as children. We go to school. Some people go to school, play sports. I play sports year round. I got thrown in a cycle so quick, right? Of on the move all the time, right? So I went to school, played 4 different sports year round, got to high school, got a job, was still playing sports, went to college, started YouTube, played sports, was dating people. I was in such a cycle. I never looked back to see. But now, like, that I've gotten to a place, and I think COVID really helped with my perspective on things, is because it gave me a chance for the world to slow down and for me to look and see what was going on. I was moving so quick. I didn't even know what was going on. I had friends that were using me. I had people that just didn't have my best interest in a lot of stuff. And it gave me the ability to see that. And I could have ended up in way worse situations had I not had an event like this slow me down and say, I really need to get away from this person because this could lead to this.
But you chose to open your eyes. That was a choice.
It wasn't, because if COVID never happened, I probably would have still been on the same trajectory.
But if COVID still, you could have still chose to keep your eyes closed. But you made that conscious decision. Oh, let me open my eyes. Let me look at the world differently. That was a choice that you made. we have more control over our minds than we actually think we do. We have way more control because, like, you couldn't COVID could happen and you could still think exactly the same. You could have chose to think exactly the same, but you chose to open your eyes and see the world differently.
But another reason why I was able to break the cycle is I wasn't under the same pressure everybody else was. So
we're all under pressures. Life, like my grandma say, excuses are like assholes. Everybody got one. Life for nobody. Life is going to be.
So my question is, what's the difference between a reason and an excuse?
A reason and I feel like, and like I said, excuses are like booty holes. Everybody got one, and I feel like everything happens for a reason. I feel like if we're saying, if we're like, oh, life is so hard for me, and that's why, life is hard for everybody. Life is hard for everybody, and actually, I don't think, now that I think about it, I don't think there's a difference between a reason and an excuse.
So if I'm explaining these as reasons why, because also we have a lot of control over our brain, only if you are in control of the things that impact it. People don't know that they're because a lot of time, I'll put it to you, the brain isn't even finished developing, right? Until you're like 25, 26.
Right.
So like when you think about that, there are certain decisions that you make before your brain is even done becoming fully functional. But you're making decisions that will impact the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Right? So when you go to college, what's the first thing they do? Send you credit cards. Because we know you're not financially literate enough unless you came from a very wealthy family. You're not financially literate enough to make the right decisions with this credit card. So while you're in college, before you turn, 25, 26, when your brain's fully developed, we're going to lock you in a cycle of debt that you're never getting out of. Even if you take out loans. I was fortunate enough for somebody at 12 years old to tell me, listen, I know people who took out student loans at 60 and they're still paying it at 60 years old. And they said, don't take out student loans. I was fortunate enough. Everybody's not fortunate enough to have that person tell them that. But with that, I worked through college and was able to pay out of pocket. But what that also did to me though, is everything has a cause and effect. While I'm working, everybody else is developing social relationships. So they're going through things. They know how to navigate their friendships a little bit better. This person's bad for me. This person's good for me. Because I had high school, but I didn't have the college experience because I was working, right? So when I did get out of college and I do get into a field like entertainment, I wasn't able to see the people who were taking advantage of me and using me for certain things, because every choice is not 100% right and 100% wrong. It's on the spectrum of like how badly or how good it can affect you. So I was in situations where I was giving my time to people, taking it away from myself, because I thought that's what team building. I played sports, I worked jobs, all team building. Everybody got the same goal. I get to entertainment where everybody don't got the same goal. A lot of people are for self. I didn't know that because of the situations that I was in, and that severely set me back in certain things. But what it also did is I got to watch other people. I didn't run through the door and become rich really quick. Right? So since I didn't do that, I'm able to see all the mistakes that everybody else makes. So I don't make those on my journey where they have these big peaks of life where they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And then now they go back to making 50, 60, but they're trying to maintain this lifestyle. Everything has a cause and effect. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. Right? It's just up to some people. It's just the situations that you're in are very predictive of what's going to end up happening to you. So was it wrong that I paid off my student loan debt, but I worked all through college? Yeah, there were negative impacts and positive impacts. I think people don't credit that there are negative impacts and positive impacts to everything.
Exactly.
Right? So you got to take somebody like a lot of sports players, a lot of musicians, right? Some of the most impactful music that has come from people that were born in very bad conditions, because those stories are able to resonate throughout one of the largest demographics of society, the ones that aren't in control of everything, right? So we would never have that if they didn't go through these things. But there are also some people who go through these things that don't have that talent. So where is their way out of it, right? So when you look at it, like, nothing is as cut and dry or black and white as people try to make it seem.
Yeah.
So I think that's people's, what I see, especially in entertainment, right, is everybody wants credit for what they did, right? And I used to have that problem. When everybody used to say, "Oh, you're such a good kid. Your parents raised you well." I'm like, bro, I chose to do these things. What do you mean my parents raised me? I am making the decisions, right? And I had to get out of that, because once I started to learn, like, the things that I went through were very predictive. You can only put your child in the right place. You can hope that the things that affect them a certain way. That's the only, as a parent, that's all you can do. You cannot control who your child becomes.
Exactly.
Right? But you can try to put them in the best environment. And even putting them in the best environment, they still may end up somewhere else, because there are so many variables that deal with who this person is going to be when they get older. So, yeah.
I think, once again, it's because what they choose to do. Because just like you said, your parents can teach you everything you should know when it comes to this world. It's up to you what you personally want to do with that information.
You go to church?
I did when I was in Denver, but I haven't been since I came here.
So I'll put it to you like this, even this, right? This is a perfect example of how you don't know what's going to happen to you, and you're in no control of it. So they have this thing in church called communion, right? What do you?
I know what communion is.
So what do you have in communion?
You got your old wine and your crackers.
Do the kids take it?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so with alcohol, let me tell you. So
we had cranberry. My grandma gave us cranberry juice.
See, you were fortunate enough to come from a place where they gave you cranberry juice, right? But some people actually give the children wine. And if you have a certain thing in your genetics that makes you more prone to being susceptible to alcohol, you have already set this kid down a road of alcoholism way before they had a chance to choose for themselves. Yeah. So people will turn around and look at the 16-year-old and say, I mean, you chose to drink, but did he? Like, he was given wine at communion at church.
Yeah, but he's still... church, yeah, okay, that's how you were. If that's you, you're growing up with liquor, okay, I'd understand. But when, once again, a certain amount of time, when you get to a certain age, a certain point in your life, and I feel like everyone's certain age, certain point are all different, but that's still your influences. Once again, that's all you were taught. That's what you were influenced by. Okay, but once you get to a certain age, it's like, now it's your choice.
Do you believe in addiction?
Oh, yeah.
So if this kid was set down this road, at what age do you think somebody is cognizant enough to break addictions?
When they want to. What
do you think, like, the average age is for
I don't think there's a specific age. I think if in their mind, for instance, people who are addicted to sex because that's what they were introduced to, raped, molested, or they just were introduced to, maybe they experimented as a kid and it caused them to start having sex. I think your age at stopping that addiction, that's up to you. When you see it, when you start to see it affect you, and you decide to say, because, for instance, I had people in my family who they did experience, sexual molestation, yeah. And so they had sex a lot. That's what they did for years, and then they decided to stop, and they decided to get married. And they decided, but that was their choice. But they could have been in that addiction. They were addicts. They were sex addicts. They were basically, how do I put it? Basically sex slaves. Yeah. Yeah, but they put themselves, at a certain age, at their specific age, where they said, I don't want to do this no more. It was their choice.
We'll probably listen. We have to revisit this conversation in like 5 years. Cause look, I used and it's hard, right? Because like it's hard to see things outside of our perspective. It's very hard for people to do that because your life is happening to you all the time.
Yeah.
Right. That is very hard to see how other people's life is happening to them. It's very, especially in the society we live in. Like there's some places in the world where they may not have the infrastructures we have, but they have the time to get to know each other, right? The thing, even when you went to church, like finding God and love and all of these things are very specific, is to find understanding. We have to find understanding in each other to be able to coexist.
Yeah. And,
and I feel like a lot of the times people think, since I understand how I was affected and was able to change it, you should too. Where there may be something in their life that is stopping them from being able to find that understanding. It could be a certain level of trauma. It could be a specific trauma. It could be an addiction that they were introduced to way before they even, things that became normal to them, right? Before they knew that this shouldn't be normal. Yeah. Because how do you know what's not normal if it's been normal your whole life?
Exactly.
So, like to choose like between drinking and not drinking because of your education level. But if you come from, I've been to cities in America where it's like there's nothing to do, and your grandfather probably let you taste some moonshine when you were 11, right? And it became normal to you. By the time you're 15, you drinking like a cup of moonshine every day.
Yeah.
Like. So how do you dig yourself out of that, especially when everything around you reinforces that this is normal? How do you get out of that, right? So
the older I've gotten, the more I have learned to understand, that's why they are in the position they are. They're in 100%. But I still don't think, like, even the stuff that I've done, I feel like it's not justified because, like, for instance, say you grew up somewhere and it was like an abusive household, and you punch somebody in the face. That doesn't justify it. I understand. Oh snap, like you've been through an abusive household, but that don't justify your actions for putting your hands on other people. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like even though you grew up in a violent household and stuff, you still made that choice to put your hands on somebody. You were influenced and that's all you saw was, violence and everything. That does not justify your actions.
Okay, let me rephrase what you said and you let me know if this is how somebody could justify it, right? Now, I don't justify domestic violence at all right? Got to start with that. But say you grow up brother and sister close in age, maybe even fraternal twins, you know what I'm saying? And y'all fight all the time, like brother and sister. That's how y'all fight. Y'all box, y'all be mad at each other at dinner, and y'all are playing together at night. This is what's normal to you. My sister, I love her. My brother, I love her or love him. You know what I'm saying? This is how we grow up. When I get into a relationship and I have a girl who I'm looking at like, you're my best friend. You're just like my sister was to me, right? And y'all get to being physical, right? You're not looking at it like I'm doing this because I love my sister just like I love you. This is just what was normal for me to do. We fought, we yelled, we got mad, we loved each other at the end of the day. Now you're a lot stronger at your older ages. You have more ability to create permanent bodily harm, but your brain is already cognizant that this is normal. If you're a 16-year-old boy and you fight with your sister all the time, and then you get around your girlfriend and she does the same things your sister do, but you look at her just as close in relationship as you look at your sister, then what do you do?
But you're a grown man, right?
I mean, you're 16,
I see you fought your sister because y'all were kids, y'all were children. You're not a kid anymore.
I know people who still fight and they're 30 years old.
That don't justify nothing. So now it's okay.
No, it's not that it's okay. It's about understanding.
Exactly. Like I said, we understand that, yeah, they grew up and it was normal. It's a lot of stuff that are normal in plenty of households, like generation, where, say, how they say, the uncle touched the little girls and stuff, passed down to, that does not make it okay.
Yeah.
Just because that's all that was registered up in here, that does not justify it.
But you know how things continue to cycle is when the people who do understand say, and leave those people to be. We can't be like that. We have to figure out a way to what's the word? It starts with an R. I know it does. But look, we have to figure out how, because redeem isn't the word that I'm looking for. But we have to figure out a way to help society move forward, because I see how I have friends who get money and they leave look, y'all ain't figure out how to do it. I got the knowledge. I'm just going to go live, and you leave people in the cycle of the turmoil, right? Sometimes when you can understand people, you know how to explain it to them in a way where you can move their mindset to something different, right? Because obviously the reason they're doing it is because somewhere in their mind they think it's okay. So you have to find some understanding of, why do you think this is okay? Now let's rewind back. You always have to go forward to go backwards, right? So if I can show you why you think this is okay and why this isn't a reason to think it's okay, then I can guide you to what is actually okay and how you should treat the people around you. But it's just like when people have conversations, they say, I don't want to hear your point. I just want, because I know I'm right, I don't want to hear what you got to say. How can you make somebody understand if you don't know the things about your point that they have misconceptions about? We have to talk to each other. And once we deem somebody is as not good enough for us to redeem in society, then there's going to be somebody out there that can think anybody's not redeemable, right? So, and everybody has flaws. So if you can look at somebody's flaw and say, this flaw isn't worth saving, you have a flaw in you that other people are going to say. And that's just not a society that I feel like is the best for everybody. That's why I try not to, this person's wrong for this. Yeah, this may not be the most beneficial action. Yes. But let's figure out how they got here, how we can train their mind to get here.
But when they're adults at a certain time, no one has time for that, because people got their own lives to deal with. Like I said, it's different when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, people don't got time to be like, oh, why did this grown man punch her in the face? We got to look back, and he need to go to a therapist for that. For sure. Because after a certain time, people don't have time in life to go and look back and try to save and try to figure out. After a certain, it's up to you now.
Yeah,
at a certain point.
But see, people say that though. But if you have a neighbor, right? And it's crazy, because the way the world works is you may not have time for your life, but eventually, I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know what you want your future to look like, but you may want to get married and have kids, and that person that you just. I'm not telling people they should save everybody. You don't have to, but the people who you have conversations with, just try to figure it, instead of getting, because I used to get mad in conversations, this person is stupid, you're dumb, right? And it's not that you just don't have your brain isn't wired the same way mine is. Right. So let me figure out, in a conversation like this, how I could get you to understand, because it may be too much for you, but that person that you was forget them, they may go have children and put that child right in the same cycle they're in. But you know who has to deal with that? Your children, right? So I would prefer to help people throughout life, because if I ever have children, I want y'all also to be best equipped. And again, it's not saving people. Sometimes it's just genuine conversation where people say, that does make sense. But it's on them to make the effort to change. Exactly. But sometimes you just have to make it make sense to people, because we all don't know what the world means or what everything means or how it affects us. But once we can figure out, nobody thinks it makes sense, the best optimal outcome is to become a baby mother. But based on their circumstances, they may think this is the way out. I'm demonized because I was very sexual as a kid, right? And now none of the good guys want to date me, right? But this rapper or this singer or this actor, he's wealthy. If I could get a baby by him, I could really just go live my life after that, right? There's some people, but when you can tell people like, yo, the effects of having your child in this way and blah, blah, some people, that does make sense. But it's up to them to put in the effort. But if you demonize them, they're going to do it anyway. Like,
I feel like you can do all that. You can have a whole conversation and they're still going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd rather just have the conversation because I did my part in the world, you know? I did my part. Like, if somebody asks you a question, typically if somebody stopped to ask you for directions on the road, like, you don't have to let them in your car and drive them there, but you could tell them, like, now it's up to them whether they remember the directions or even go to the way that you told them to go, right? But if you're on the road, I'm just going to give the directions out. This is up there, second light, turn right, go 2 more lights, and it should be on your left. I'm giving you the directions. That's my part on my journey of life, I feel like. So I feel like if more people adapted that, it would be easier for us to move society forward. Because I see how divisive, like, the world is. I have a comment section. I've commentated on certain, like, social things, and I see how artists play into that. Even entertainers, they play into I'm gonna say something vague, I could appease both sides, they'll argue with each other, I make money. I see people do it. And like, that's such a negative way because now you're leading people to fight with each other. Y'all are right, y'all can take my message and say y'all are right, y'all can take my message and say y'all are right, y'all fight with each other, I get paid both ways. Like, I think that is very detrimental to the world, rather than explaining to people like, hey, okay, this is how you should probably treat people. Try to understand them, talk to them. If you're not equipped to have a conversation, that's why they say if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, right? Because, like, all right, if I can't say anything valuable to you, I also don't want to say anything to hurt you, right? And then life becomes more easy to live and move forward. And you'll find people, like, they'll find a light in life, and it takes time. Everybody's not going to get on track. I've had friends who, like, I didn't even think they was going to get on track, but then they got, and I enjoy seeing them go down these roads that they didn't even think were possible for them. Yeah. Right? So believing is the beginning, right? So
yeah. I feel like at the root of everything, I feel like it all starts with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you're tired of seeing the same, like the same type of patterns, I feel like it starts with you. It starts with how you want to raise your kids. And I feel like you should always teach your kids, both men. I feel like they don't teach men, for instance, they don't teach men how to love themselves. I feel like it's not really a thing to sit your son down and say, this is how you should be respected. Exactly. And this is how women should treat you. And I feel like it most definitely starts with you, but I feel like no one is choosing to make that, to just, all I know it's a pattern. That's all you were taught. That's all the people that taught you were taught, so on and so forth. But I feel like it just takes that one. It just takes that one person to say, I don't want to be, what do you call it? I don't want to be
like straw that no.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be that same generation. I want to just. I feel like it just takes that one person. I feel like if everyone had that mindset of, it starts with me. It starts. I feel like then so much stuff would be a lot different.
And a lot of it because, like, especially in Black culture, right, or our experience in America, right. I always never understood why parents didn't explain to their children, like, the repercussions of what they're doing, right? So, like, why would you hit him for him not to touch the stove? Just tell him that it's hot and what burns can do. Show him some pictures of burnt fingers. It's because there was a point in time not too long ago, a generation or two ago, where, like, if you lived in certain parts of America and you were Black, I don't got time for my kid to not understand. I need you to be in this house when the sun go down. All right? Because if you're not, I could never see you again. Right? So I don't got time, but that's where progress comes from. We're not in that same space anymore. So we can explain to our children certain repercussions. So when you ask, when you say things like, you should know, some people are still being raised by people that learned from their parents. Don't ask me why. I literally walked in Walmart today and a lady told her son, don't ask me, it's what I said. Now you're not teaching them how to navigate the world. You're teaching them to listen to authority. And once you are replaced with another authority, some people find it in a boyfriend, some people find it in a teacher, some people find it in a coach, a pastor. Once you are replaced by somebody who may not have the same interest you have for your child, and you only taught them to follow authority, they can be guided anywhere. Right? And that's what some people become a victim of, especially with internet culture and politics on the internet. People they don't know nothing but listen to authority from their parents. They don't know how to say, I agree with this point, but not that one. That person actually is better on that point. So I'm really somewhere in the middle, right? They don't know how to do that because all they were taught was listen to authority, right? That's not saying this person's right and that person's wrong or vice versa. It's just saying that you have to learn how to navigate the world yourself. And a lot of people are not like, we used to have 40-hour work weeks. Your one parent used to be able to work 40 hours, feed the household, and then the other one will be able to take care and grow the kids the way they wanted them to. Now, when you live in a lot of cities, especially Atlanta, you have a kid in Atlanta in your 20s, you're going to need a dual parent household income to be able to, and both of y'all are going to work. That means less time with your children. So combined, that's 80 hours minimum outside of the home for parents. Who's raising the kids? The internet, right? So if we can remove the parents, we can indoctrinate the kids however we want. Yeah. But people are already stuck in this cycle. And some people get trapped in it before they know the consequences. You don't know it's going to take what I just explained, it took me college and a lot of research to find out. A 15-year-old is not thinking I'm going to need a 2-parent household and I'm going to be working 60 hours a week. And while my wife works this amount they're thinking like, listen, I feel something down there and it feels good when you that's all they know at that point. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Let's get into some happy topics, though.
Okay.
Let's see. What topic should we go into? What's something that makes you happy?
Something that makes me happy? Well, I do love to dance.
Okay. How'd you get into dancing?
I've been dancing for years, since I was like young. I wasn't really able to, like be a part of a dance team until I was in high school. And I was a part of my school's, dance team or whatever. And then, I've been trying to do it more. Yeah. So, like,
what would you classify like the type of dancing that you do as?
Ooh, I don't know. It's like a mixture of it all. Yeah. Like just weird, like hip hop, contemporary, lyrical, like all together.
What were like your inspirations into that?
My inspiration, my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, she danced for her school and stuff when she was growing up.
That's crazy. So how is it out here? Because I know they have like, I just discovered Atlanta had dance clubs. I knew they did. I just didn't know where they were. All right, where people really go in there and like dance their life away.
Actually, like I've never been in a club like that though. For real? No, I've been to a couple like dance studios or whatever, and I took classes, but I didn't know they had like stuff like that.
Yeah, they have like some where it's like, whew, these people are in here dance, like no phones is nothing, but like a lot of the spots now have like hookah and stuff in there more for people to chill. But this place is literally liquor, water, and bathrooms. All right, no, you can't use your phone in there. What? Everybody just dance. Yeah,
I probably can't even be old enough to get in.
Yeah, when do you turn 21?
Next year.
Yeah, we'll see you next year.
February. Yeah. I know I can't go anywhere. If that's one thing about being 20 and being like if that's one thing about being 20 but being mature and like all of your friends are older than you, it sucks because you're the only one that can't get in the club.
Yeah,
it sucks.
So do you drink?
I'm not really a drinker.
Yeah, I didn't try alcohol till I was 21. So
yeah. I mean like I bartend, and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, seeing people like seeing people has made me really paranoid to even drink. Just seeing how people act and make a fool of themselves, it's made me scared. I don't go, oh, I need to be lit like that. I go like, oh snap, you embarrassing yourself, you got your coochie out, you got your titties out, people recording you like that. That doesn't make me want to get drunk. That makes me want to stay away from the liquor.
I will say, like, if you have a good grasp on like yourself, like sober, I think you should be able to. Because my friends, even when I did, because I haven't drank in like 8 months or something like that, I just chose to stop. Like, and people always used to tell me like, how you keep yourself together? It's because like it takes a lot to stay on track. Like, and sometimes you be out of it. Like, I've only like had like one of them nights like twice where it's like, what happened? Three times. Okay. But like, other than that, like, I think you'll be able to. It's about knowing your limits. I think a lot of people don't know their limits. I'm one of them type of people. Like, the first time I do something, I'm jumping all the way in, and then I'm gonna figure out how to float, right? Yeah. But I'm gonna do that like in the comfort of like my backyard, right? So the first time I like got drunk, I was at a girl who I ended up dating, right? I was at her house, and that's where I drank at. But I learned so much in that one experience, right? I learned how much I could drink. I also learned the side effects because I went to work the next day, and like, thankfully I'm a good personable person. I had a friend like, yo, you've been drinking, haven't you? I was like, yeah. She's like, I can smell it. Come here real quick. She like helped me clear like the smell off of me and off of my breath, right? And like those learning experiences, now I know these are the consequences of what happens. So I had people around me to teach me through it, right? So now when I go out and do stuff, I can navigate the world that way. Some people, they just never learn that limit.
Yeah, I'm more so like where I learn from other people's mistakes. I'm not really the type of person to be like, oh, well, that's not going to happen to me, I'm different. Like I try my best to, of course I make my own mistakes all the time, but like certain stuff, if I know, or not know, but if I've seen how it's like mess with people, because another reason why I haven't really drank and stuff is seeing like people, when you're around people you don't really know like that, and you're intoxicated and they take advantage of you, like people, and I'm not even talking about guys specific, I'm talking about girls too. Like, you get set up somewhere and it's like that's stuff like that. I'm like, I'd rather, if I ever were to get drunk or something, it would be around people I actually know and could trust, because I can't just like go out with just a group of random girls. I can't do that because I don't trust y'all. I don't know you. I don't know you.
You remind me of like a younger version of myself, though. I ain't gonna lie. I used to be just like that. I don't trust nobody. Like, and it's to the point where like people like asked me to do a podcast, and I was on my stream last night. All right, somebody else asked me to do a podcast, and like I'm teaching my chat, and this is something that I think people should do more of, right? Is explain to the youth how you come to your conclusions. So I'm telling them, like, I'm going through like her Instagram, and I'm like, all right, look, you see this? All right, that might be I don't know, you know what I'm saying? This okay. This is Atlanta, all right? Let's so now when you don't end up down these spirals of these bad events, when you can prep yourself, but like I trust myself to get through a lot of things, but just know I'm paying attention like while I'm making these decisions. I feel like a lot of people just because life is so fast, and you don't even notice how fast it goes until you get. A lot of people, it's retirement. They done trick people into giving up 40-something years of their life for retirement. Like, just keep working. You'll get there. You know what I'm saying? You'll get there. By the time you sit back and look, that's why they say most regrets are told on people's deathbed, because you don't even know how fast you're moving until you're about to stop, right? Or you can't move no more. So
life is too short. That's why I'm like, life is short, meaning I don't have time to have regrets with this short life. I don't have time to. I feel like I don't know, but for me personally, have I ever felt like like if this one time can just completely affect, change my entire life. That's why a lot of stuff I don't do. I can't, because it's just like life is too short, and I refuse.
Sometimes you gotta live a little bit though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely live and yeah, but for me personally, like when I die, I know I'm not gonna look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have got drunk, and oh,
yeah,
I wish I
drinking,
would
bro.
have took drugs. Oh, I wish I would have did certain things. Cause I'm like, no, I'm good. Cause I know like all it takes is one time. All it takes is one time.
Yeah, for most people, I think so. I don't think like this might be a controversial. I don't think it's that controversial, bro. Because look, they're opening up dispensaries. I don't think drugs are like a super terrible thing, but in moderation, everything can be done in moderation.
Yeah.
Right. Because like, but also, you ever took Tylenol, or like an Advil or something?
Yeah.
What makes that drug different than any other drug?
I mean, I don't know. Like what? I'm talking about like for weed, like what?
Yeah.
Different drugs,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, cause I smoke weed. I don't mind doing. I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. But the thing about like, I don't think there's a difference. I feel like if you take a Tylenol, it's for a headache. People smoke for a headache.
I just thought you were like against like all drugs. That's why I asked.
No, I'm not against it. I'm just saying it's like certain stuff, because I know people where they talk about taking shrooms and acid and stuff like that. I don't feel the need to do, like, and it's like even with weed, I don't smoke with people I don't know, because you hear about people dying, fentanyl in it and stuff like. So that's why certain stuff I'm like, I don't like taking certain risks.
I feel it. I'm an advocate for shrooms though. I don't know about acid.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I said I think people should learn about things. I'm one of them. I'm not doing nothing if I don't know about it. Yeah. Like I'm a learn. I'm a figure it out. I watched this. I keep telling people I'm gonna stop mentioning it, so I'm not gonna say the name. But I watched this documentary about shrooms. I was like, once you realize what you put into your body is also so predictive of like how your body functions. All right, because even Tylenol like is derived from effects of shrooms. Like they took shrooms, tried to synthesize it, and make it into a pill to give people. That's literally. So I was like, that's interesting, and like all the other effects, it's crazy. But you be cooking?
Yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn how to cook because I live by myself, so I ain't got no choice now. But I'm a big head, like a big rice head. I love rice. I've been trying to learn how to do different things with like shrimp and chicken. Jasmine, how do you know?
Look, everybody know.
But yeah, like trying to learn. I remember last Thanksgiving? I think it was either last Thanksgiving or the one before. And I didn't want a whole turkey because I don't eat turkey, so I did ribs. I'll tear up some ribs. I did ribs,
Pork
the
ribs?
baked mac and cheese. Yeah, the baked mac and cheese. Like I did the whole thing. I was so proud of myself.
Was it hard for you to learn how to cook, or did somebody like teach you, or did you just like trial and error?
All together, like everything all together. And I try to call or FaceTime my mom and stuff with certain things because I don't want to mess up.
So what's your best dish if you had to say?
Chicken bouillon and rice.
What is that?
It's like you use the bouillon cubes, and then you make like the gravy, pour it on the chicken breast, and then with your rice and stuff.
Okay.
I think that was so good.
That's so funny. I remember when we like first moved into this apartment, we bought like it's like a 25-pound sack of rice. Yeah.
I love rice.
That we literally lived off rice for now, but now I do like HelloFresh. They send you the meals and you just cook them. I think that's a good way to learn how to cook for sure. Different recipes.
Is that the stuff that be on like the commercials?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I definitely would look into that though. Cause you learn so many. Like I learned how to make salad without using dressing. It tastes so good, bro. Like literally, like I would rather eat that salad than like any dessert on this planet.
What?
Facts. That's how good it is. I'm like, there's no way. Like, and like on Tuesdays, I cook at my mom's house, right? And then like, cause like HelloFresh, I have it. You can either get it like in 4 portions or 2, and I get them in 2. So on Tuesday, I'll be at my mom's crib, and I'll cook and leave her some. That salad, you couldn't have none. I took it, that came home with me.
So when it comes to cooking, say, do you think about, do you plan on getting married? Or is that
hopefully, you know what I'm saying?
would you be the one cooking, or will both of you, or do you like?
In the famous words of Zac Efron, we're all in this together. All right.
I know that.
So I like, like I feel like I want a relationship where we do everything, right? Like there may be there were a lot of skills that I learned growing up. Like I know how to unbraid hair. I know how to like take a weave install out. I know how to do all of this stuff. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to do everything, right? And I know how to make money, right? So I just want a partner who like I can shoulder the load, you can shoulder the load. Because what I've learned in my past relationships is that ability to shoulder like the load of everything. People will get away with what they can, right? And I kind of learned that like the hard way, right? And I just would prefer it be like a back and forth thing. Like
So you don't want a modern day woman?
I feel like a modern day woman is. There are some modern day women who are like well rounded. Yeah. I feel like because people only look at one side of the modern day woman as the one who wants everything traditionally but has more perks in life, right? There's that type of modern woman, which dumb women exist at all times, but there are also women who were being prevented from, who could do everything, but they were just being prevented from making as much money as men. And now the modern version of that woman is one who still does everything and can make the money. So like, I guess I want a modern woman, but that version of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
What do you plan on your relationship looking like?
My both putting in 100%.
Yeah.
I don't do 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't believe in half-assing nothing.
Like, and I feel so bad about people. It's like, yeah, such and such pay for this, blah, blah, blah. It's such a, like, if you're in a marriage, like, everything's y'all's. Like, why are we counting pockets?
You want to sign a prenup? Say if you were, like, worth millions and you just met her.
I would sign a prenup for my businesses, but everything else, like, because I don't have like a traditional job. So like this creation started way before like my future relationship. So like I would want to protect that, but like everything else that we do together from that point, that's fine. Yeah. Especially if we have kids, because like there's a certain way I want to give my assets to my children, like, and I don't want us breaking up, splitting from this thing that I actually want to give my kids to be benefactors of, and you run away with half of it and like live your best life. Yeah. Like, you could have lived, like, you could have just not been with me. I could have lived my best life with somebody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind signing a prenup.
For real?
Yeah, if he was worth millions, billions, I would not mind, because how to put this, I've learned that the whole money thing, trying to date people for money, they got money, it never works out. And so it's like, especially if he's making, more money stuff, not all the time, but a lot of times they can use that as a control mechanism. For sure. Or, well, I'm making money, so you're going to do what I tell you to do, stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't mind signing a prenup, because I wouldn't be dating you for your money anymore. Yeah.
I think that's one thing like our past generations got to be truthful about. It's like, don't only tell us the positive parts of having a guy take care of everything. Tell us about the negative parts. Yeah. How he had a separate family down the street that you knew nothing about. Tell us how he controlled everything and you wanted to put your input in and things got a little physical. Tell that part of the story too. Yeah. Because y'all are leading people down this fairy tale road that don't exist. Yeah. Like, then, you know what I'm saying? There's people like me out here, right? Not saying that any of my exes were like this, but like they end up getting taken advantage of because, like, dang, I think I'm just doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And then you like, damn, like, well, why are you in this relationship type of. So that happens. What has your dating experience been like?
Currently it's going good. It's going, okay. I have a boyfriend.
Okay.
He's in Denver. Colorado.
How was the long distance relationship?
Starting out, it was bad just because I fell into that, depression stage,
Yeah.
and going through a lot. I felt very lonely and stuff. But now, as it's time is going on, I'm getting busy, and it's going way good. But before him, I dated like this really hood dude. Terrible.
Crazy.
They're not the moves. One thing I learned is you cannot change someone who does not want to change themselves. It's draining. It's time wasting. It is like, don't do it. And I feel like a lot of times when it comes to good girls who date the bad guys, a lot of times they think it's like a movie. It's exciting. The adrenaline is like, oh, I can change him. And no. And then what I don't like is that women intentionally date bad guys. Like, they know they're bad guys, but they, I don't know, after he constantly shows he's a bad guy, then they blame him for continuing to. He's always been a bad guy. You knew he was a bad guy, and you thought you were gonna change him. And they're like, yeah.
I would say like a lot of like hood dudes, because I grew up in a very diverse area. I had like the kids who got good grades were my friends, but also the kids who were breaking their houses were my friends too. So like what I learned is like a lot of those people at the core, what they believe, they want to be loved too, but like the world has made them into such a hardened person because of the way the world's treated them, right? For whatever reason, sometimes it's preconceived notions about their gender, their ethnicity, their financial situation. These are all judgments that were placed on them that turned them into this, like, I don't care about nothing. All right, cut the cap, right? You care about something, all right? And a lot of the times where girls fall victim is like they show glimpses that like, all right, I see the wannabe lover in there, like, and they try to bring them out, but like that fortress they put up, like if you don't figure out how to walk them out of that, like they have to, like you said, they have to walk out themselves. You can't make them come out that shell. You can only try to talk to them to get them out that shell.
But it's like I said, it's so draining. It's hard to love someone who doesn't understand how to be loved. It's hard to love someone who doesn't love themselves. So when you try to come at them with the love and stuff, it's foreign to them. They don't know how to react to it, so they take advantage of the love that you're giving because they've never actually received it. So like I said, it's draining. That's why I broke up with him. I broke up with him New Year's Day.
That was like your New Year's resolution? New relationship, bitch.
New Year's Day, because it was like, wow, like, and I was like only like 17, 18. I'm too young to, what am I doing? I'm over here trying to change it. He was, how old was he? He was like 22. Dang. Yeah. So I'm like,
that's an allegation right there, but go ahead.
We didn't have sex.
Listen, allegation still.
Yeah. What do you mean? But I mean, I can see.
I'm just saying, like, society, that's allegation for sure.
Yeah, but it would only be allegation because he's a guy.
What do you mean?
I think if he was a woman,
it should still be an allegation, but you know what I'm saying.
But you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't be if that was a guy. If that was a girl and I was a guy.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like, yeah, I had to get over that because I'm wasting my time, so much time.
It's good that you were able to like recognize that though.
Yeah, because I grew up. Because I grew up with my daddy. He put me on game. I'm like, he already showed me, 100%.
Yeah. So how did he deal with like the breakup?
I don't know, because I blocked him. And then I felt bad, so I unblocked. No, I blocked him, and then he emailed me. He emailed me a text. I forgot what it was, but he's talking about, oh, I miss you and stuff, and then I unblocked him on Snapchat and stuff, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I miss you, I should never. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was it for me.
I feel bad because no girls ever block me, bruh. I feel everybody has like these stories of like getting blocked. Like,
I always block my exes.
That's crazy.
Always. I want nothing to do with you after.
You don't think y'all were genuine friends though?
No. I only knew him for about, I don't know how many days before we actually made it official. Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we only dated for like 30 days.
I mean, that's not that bad, I don't think.
I think it is. because I didn't.
I mean,
Really
you
know
were a
him
teen.
like
You were a teenager.
but I was
Yeah.
younger and stuff. But I was like, yeah.
Knowing somebody for a couple days is crazy though. Like it takes somebody you at least got to be around for like 15 months before I date. Like somebody.
But boyfriend I have now, I'm known since 6th grade.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
How did y'all end up? Was he like in the friend zone, or like y'all just never explored like dating?
So in the 6th grade, he tried to be my little boyfriend, and I got in trouble because I wasn't allowed to have. I wasn't allowed to date. I kind of took him from my friend, which is like really bad. Yeah, long story. She hated me after that, but it's okay.
No, go ahead. Tell the story. How you stole your best friend's man.
We were in the 6th grade, and that was her boo or whatever. And I saw him. I'm like, ooh, that's mine next. You know. And then, I got in trouble because I wasn't allowed to date, so I didn't see him for years. And then, so after I graduated high school is when I was on his brother's live, and we talking that he was there, and then we just rekindled and started over.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So, do you plan to like move back to Denver, or does he plan to like move out here?
I would like to move back to Denver, but just because how I'm feeling right now.
I feel it.
But my grandma's like, no, you just wait till you turn 21. You just got to be out there more and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
So what do you like and dislike about Atlanta? Let's talk about it. I'm being on your part too. All right, because I can't deal with the slander.
Okay. What I love. Okay, let me do what I don't like first. So what I don't like about it is that how people turn it into the ghetto, and how do I say the ghetto? I mean like how people turn it into a bad place. I don't like the fact that people, because people are gonna get robbed everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. But I feel like out here, I didn't hear people getting their what do you call that? The thing under the cars getting jacked. Converter. The Cadillac converter. I didn't hear that until I moved here. I'm like, people are really doing that stuff. I don't like that. It's kind of, I just don't like the energy, like the hostility and the, like, like I said on the video, like, I don't like that it's normal to be upset all the time. And I don't like how it's a thing for women to only mess with men for their cars and stuff. I had, like, guy friends when I came out here, and, they was, like, really put me on. Like, yeah, the women out here, they only care about if you got a nice car, how much money you got. I don't like the fact that it's kind of like a thing for your body to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. Like I said, don't get me wrong, that's everywhere. But I didn't really notice that kind of stuff till I moved out here.
See, I think you moved out here in this very special time, though. Like, and what I wanted to, I try to tell people is like when COVID hit, Atlanta didn't close, mm-hmm. right? So everybody who got money a certain way came to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Like they came here because it was open market, right? So a lot of those people came out here, COVID, you know what I'm saying? Kind of backslid. Mm-hmm. People weren't getting certain cheat codes to life that they were once getting. And now people have conducted a lifestyle they try to keep up. But sometimes they have to resort to other things to do that. And a lot of these people aren't from Atlanta. Like, a lot of the things that people are saying aren't from people who are from Atlanta.
That's what I was told. Yeah, like, half the people out here ain't even actually from Atlanta. So, but I do love, I'm not going to lie, I love Atlanta, though. Like, even though there's some stuff I don't like, but I love the weather, for instance. Yeah. Absolutely love it. I love the events out here. Like, I love that it's, like, popping the events and stuff. I love the lights out here on the highways. Like I feel like the vibe I get here is like a whole different type of vibe. When on the positive side. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, and you got to know like Atlanta's history too. Like the black culture here, like the body and blah blah. We used to have Freaknik here. You know what that is?
It's like isn't it like the late 90s kind of?
Yeah, like vibe. But see, even Freaknik wasn't even like it was really a picnic in Centennial Park. Like people always glorify like the sexual part of it, where like women was hanging out cars showing of course, because that's what brought the guys here, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, there's girls, we there. But like we was outside, like they was cooking hot dogs during the day for kids. Kids had bounce houses, and like that's what was actually going on here.
That's what I miss. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see that.
But see, if you know people from here, that's why I try to tell every out of towner that come here, like stop trying to navigate the city yourself. Like, find somebody who live here and ask them, because like the people who are from here, we be hiding from y'all too. Like, we be in the word of mouth spots. Like, if you're from here, you can come. If you know somebody who's from here, you can come, but you're not gonna find it on Google like where we're at. So
yeah, the best and the good stuff isn't that's like you said, the good stuff is not on Google. You try Google great events and they're not on there, but you go down somewhere and it's like, what is this? What is this? That's what I really like about it.
Where like some of the events that you went to?
I went to it was Piedmont Park, or Piedmont Park. I believe it was a jazz festival.
Oh, like a month ago or two?
No, it was last year when I went somewhere. I haven't really been going out just because I haven't really found friends to do that kind of stuff with yet. So, what are some? That's kind of the only event.
You've been here for 2 years?
Yeah, I think that's like the only.
That is insane.
Yeah, because I haven't had, every time I try to, when I tell you, I've been learning to put myself out there. Like, I can't be complaining and I'm sitting at home and I ain't hanging out with nobody.
Yeah.
But it's like every time I have tried to find friends, it's always like, they always end up jealous.
What you mean?
They always end up hating. Like, one time I thought I had it was like 3 other girls. And I'm like, it's gonna be great. All 3 of us gonna be hanging out and stuff. And it's like, 2 of them followed one who did not like me for no reason. And I thought she was gorgeous. Like, I thought she was like, and she couldn't even look me in my face when I would try to talk to her. She would just be like, I tried to sit next to her. She walked away. It was just weird stuff. And mind you, I barely knew them yet. But it's like, it just keeps happening. Every time I try to find a female friend. Like, one time I thought I had a cool female friend. We went to the club. She got mad. All the dudes was hollering at me. And she lied, said she was on her period so she could leave early. So we could leave.
How you know she lied, though? She could have been on her feet. She could have, you know.
No. The timing was too. It was too, like, she was just like, because mind you, we was having a good time, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go to so she was already giving this vibe that she wanted to go home. And so she goes to the bathroom and she's like, I started my period. Like, I don't doubt that she did, but she was just like, oh yeah, when it comes, my stomach hurts and I get really I get nauseous and throw up stuff. So I'm like, okay,
what club were y'all at?
The Peacock, the Royal Peacock.
Oh yeah. On Edgewood. Hold on, where is it?
Edgewood?
I think so.
It's by I don't know these streets yet.
Yeah, I think it's on Edgewood.
But I know it's by a light rail.
Yeah, Edgewood.
Yeah,
sure.
But
you should go to Buckhead. That's where you need. Oh, you're not 21. That's tough.
I mean, I've always found a way to get in.
Okay, yeah. So you should go to Buckhead. Buckhead is a good place, like drinking. Well, you don't drink, so, but it's a nice like little vibe spot, like to be in.
Yeah.
Lots of like dancing going on in there, depending on where you go on Buckhead. But I think that'd be a good place for you to go.
But I just want to find the right people to go with, and I found some girls now. They were those the ones that I told you, like, I wanted them to come with me, but they take like 2-3 days to respond, or they never respond. So, yeah. I haven't really had the best. Did
you go to college, or did you do any college?
I went to Georgia State for a bit, but I came out here during COVID. It was online. I was at a job paying $4 an hour when I first came out here. Yeah, so I was completely stressed.
How?
It was at one of the restaurants on Camp Creek. Yeah, I was not getting paid at all, and so I was just really stressed out, and they just kept nagging me about not being able to afford, like texting me every day, oh, you have to pay like $4,000 or you're going to get cut. I don't have $4,000, so I was just like, fuck it.
You didn't like apply for like FAFSA or anything?
I did FAFSA. I did financial aid.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I was just like, I do plan on going back, Lord willing, but
I think college is a good way to network, to find like because my English 1101 professor told me this. She said this will be the last place that you will be able to cultivate true friendships, because once you go to work, those aren't your friends, those are your coworkers.
Yeah.
All right. And she said that, and it's a true thing. Like, you can find like a lot of similar minded people. Also, what she told me is once you go to college, you won't be able to have conversations with people who didn't go to college, because like your level of like understanding, not to say you're smarter than them, but like your ability to find understanding in a conversation is going to be a lot higher than the average person. And I think that's kind of true, but not true at the same time. But when you go back to college, hopefully like you find some people. Yeah. YouTube will help you find a lot of people too, though.
Yeah, so I'm glad.
Yeah. What do you want to do with your YouTube channel besides talk trash?
I want to do like vlogging and stuff, and not tutorials. Like how to's, or how this happened and stuff like that, story times and stuff. Yeah.
All right, so give me a story time that happened in your life that you're gonna tell on your YouTube channel.
There's a story time about how I had COVID and I didn't know I had COVID. Like, I had no idea, just because everything like was just kind of feeling like it had a reason for it. So I was there, and I flew a plane to Denver, Colorado to see my people, and I was just exhausted. And I'm thinking I'm jet lagged. So I'm like, oh, I'm just tired or whatever. Jet lags, I ate spicy food, and my stomach. Done. Done. And I'm thinking it's because I ate spicy food, but no, my body completely sore. I'm thinking it's because I was sitting on the plane really uncomfortable. Yeah. And so go, and the damn on my way back, the airport train was done. So I had to walk from the train to baggage claim. I don't know how long that walk was, but my body was about to shut. I was crying on the inside.
In Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
Jesus.
And my body is sore, and I'm like, and then after a while, I was like, hold up, I had COVID.
That's crazy.
And I didn't know.
Like, literally everybody caught COVID except for me.
Really?
Yes. I was like in my house for like a month straight, because like my parents' home, everybody caught COVID in there, and everybody in this house caught COVID. All my YouTube friends caught COVID, so I was literally stuck in the crib for like 5 weeks. It was terrible. It was bad.
But that's good that you didn't. Did you get vaccinated? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I ended up doing it because like I believe in science, bro. All right, so.
Oh,
sure.
Well then, yeah, that makes sense.
But I think I got my mom to do it later. I told her to do it before then. She was like, well, I still caught it. I was like, bro, look, your effects would have been a little bit less if you would have, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole purpose in it. But like I said, there are actual, like, I wish people just took biology, bro. Please, you know what I'm saying? Everybody out there, take biology. Because, like, there's no reason we should be having this, like, conversation in the world, bro. It's just no way. Like, when people crank their car up, you know it's going to start, right? Like, there's literally an explosion going on in your engine. You trust that to not blow you up, right? And that's science, right? The same way that, there's other science, too, so... And I think, like, we don't have to go too deep into COVID, because hopefully it could look further into it. How did you feel during COVID?
How did I feel? I loved it.
Why?
One, everything was cheap.
For sure.
Start there. Plane tickets, traveling like a mug. Loved it. And then also, I was graduating 2020. My last name is Washington.
Okay.
No one wants to be at a graduation that long.
Facts.
So I had a drive-through graduation where I hop out the car, get my diploma, take a picture, click, hop your ass right back in that car and leave. Best. Loved it. That's and cool. I was the first car. Loved it. And I was kind of disappointed about the prom a little, but I already went to prom before. Yeah. I was asked to prom my junior year, so it was like...
So have you always like been Mrs. Bitches your whole life?
Mrs. what?
Well, They usually say Mr. Bitches, right? Because like the guy who like I get the girls. You know, have you been Mrs. Bitches your whole life?
No.
Because you said like the girls hated on you at the club.
No, I haven't always been like that actually. In fact, I was always ignored.
Really?
Yeah. I either had really thick friends. I was always like the slim friend, skinny friend or whatever, and or I was brown skin. So they always got attention before me.
How do you feel like the world has treated you being like a brown skin compared to other people?
Now that I've gotten older, it's like, oh, I've gotten called golden, whatever. But when in high school, it was just like I was ignored. I was ignored.
Do you think that like weighed on like your mental, like not getting that level of attention from people?
It did. Growing up, just because like there was one time it was like three of my light skinned friends, two of them were mixed, and I was the last one. And one dude was like, we were all in middle school, about to go to high school, and he pointed at all three of them as like, you guys are gonna pull in like niggas or whatever in high school. And then he pointed to me and was like, you're not gonna be shit, like, and it like really like fucked me up, like damn, like. But as I gotten older, for some reason, it's like, I don't know, I just feel like the baddie. My confidence has just been different.
Yeah, I don't know, cause I be looking. I know like everybody used to like the light skinned girl in the school, and I never forget when I was in 7th grade. It was a girl named what's her name? All right, it was one girl named Alexandria. She was the light skinned girl, and the other girl name was. It's like one of those equal names, you know what I'm saying? Shaniqua or something like that. And she was dark skinned. Me personally, I don't know why everybody liked I mean, she was cute, you know what I'm saying? Like she was alright. But I look back, I be trying to like, why does everybody think this? I always had crushes on like dark skinned girls, like growing up. So I guess that's why I never really noticed that everybody liked the light skinned girls. But like once I started like having conversations with people, I really realized like how biased like people have been taught to be. Like, but do you feel like that affected like any other part of your life besides just dating, like being brown skin?
No. And then like the crazy thing is, white boys loved me.
Really?
Yeah. It was the black guys who didn't. I remember one time one guy I had a crush on who's not even cute anymore. He was just like, like, oh, hi, I had a crush on him. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't mess with dark skins, and he was dark skin himself. So it was like, dang. And I feel like it is the way the world and the media perceives brown skin, dark skin girls. For instance, Tyler Perry, whenever he has a dark skin, brown skin character, she's loud, she's ghetto, she's screaming, she's for instance, what's her face from Why Did I Get Married? Marcus,
yeah.
Whatever. Like I feel like we're always perceived as like in movies and television, we're always the antagonists, or no, it's the antagonist. We're always the antagonists. We're always the ones who are like either loud, angry, ghetto, ignorant. Like I feel like it's the way that we're perceived on media that has caused, especially younger, black men and women to praise the light skins and the mixed girls, because they get to be on the commercials with the families. Yeah. They get to be on the movies, getting married and stuff like that. We are the drug addicts. We are the angry baby mamas yelling, cursing, and screaming. We don't get to be perceived as the good women.
Yeah. I definitely agree. You know what I'm saying? The way it's perceived. I try to find understanding in that though. Like sometimes, because like when I look at acceptance in like Hollywood, especially, like, you know what a bell curve is? So like in math, there's this thing called like a bell curve. So it's like a bell shape, but like in the middle, that's where you get like standard deviations from. So I think like 64% of the bell curve lies in like the standard deviation of people, right? So in the middle, you have like the fairest skinned people who could pass for white, people who could pass for black. And as you go down the black spectrum, like I think it's 32% is in like the one part of the bell curve, then it's like 13%. So as people get darker skin, like I just think there's more people in the middle, like lighter skinned people, and especially like we live in America, bro. Like the acceptance is gradual. We have to. Oh, she's actually black. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Our way into accepting of especially black women or black men too. But I just think in Hollywood. But see, it still doesn't make sense though, because like they still have the black woman, the dark skinned woman, as a role, but like demonized. So yeah, I don't know.
That's how they do us. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I've grown to take certain stuff as a compliment.
What do you mean?
Like certain stuff it's a compliment. Take it as a compliment. Like the older I am now, if I don't get attention from men, it's not because I'm ugly. It's because it's just something about me that maybe they're saving me.
Yeah.
They're saving me. They're saving me. They're saving me. They saving my time, and I genuinely appreciate it. I've grown to appreciate that kind of stuff. Like even when it comes to women who feel like they think they're better than black women. Like I feel like white women, Hispanic women, everybody think they better than us, but once again they try everything in their power to make us feel like we're not shit when they know we are the shit. Yeah. And I feel like I just allow that to be a compliment. Yeah.
Like when you have haters, that's how you know, like when you're doing something like, okay, because there's a reason. Because if I wasn't trying, like if I was really not shit, like why would y'all bring me up?
Exactly. Right? If we're not all that, why do people feel if we're not all that, why do people feel the need to try everything in their power to make us feel like we're not? Yeah. If we're not, like if we're bad, you don't see people trying to make Asians feel bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying but come on, black women, come on, it's like we're unbeatable, and people see that. Yeah.
I have an appreciation for black women, and like I know I say that a lot, and like sometimes I think like I'm walking myself off this plank, because like what if the love of my life isn't black? I'm gonna be heartbroken, but like because I'm gonna have to like I'm gonna have to like, I've said so much, but I feel like some people will be like, I mean, well, he loves her, you know what I'm saying?
So, if you truly, genuinely love someone, their race should absolutely not matter.
Yeah, I don't think it'd matter, but like I've been exposed to like, I guess like sometimes people see the struggle in others, and they can resonate with it. Like, bro, I've been a very smart black kid my whole life. I went to schools where like I was smarter than everybody in the class, and there was only one other me in the class, bro. So like sometimes I just be like, I didn't know all of the times people were trying to destroy me throughout life, in school, in sports, and work. I didn't know. I was just a kid. Like, and that there's a certain level of, it's not even resentment. It's like a certain level of like, I need somebody who understands this, because if you don't like understand this, you will not understand me, right? Yeah. And it's that level of, I don't know if I could find that outside of that. Yeah.
I mean, I personally, like, I feel like I've already found, someone, but I personally, how do I put this? I don't know if I would be able to actually date. And I know I said if you love someone, the race shouldn't matter. But at the same time, it's like, just because for me personally, I feel like because I was raised by a black man, and because of the love that I was given, by that black man and stuff, and it's like, it's a different type of love. Yeah. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to find that in another race.
Yeah, a lot of people have told me like, Korean women, they're just like black girls. People have told me that, but I don't know. Like
Korean?
Korean. Yeah.
I've heard that.
Really?
I've heard Koreans are like black folks. Like,
really?
They're like yes, I've heard Koreans are like the hood Asian. They like the black Asians.
Yeah, that's crazy. I gotta I'm gonna have to, cause somebody told me that, cause like I watch like anime and stuff like that. So like the Asian culture stuff, like I eat pho, like, you know what I'm saying? My whole life I've been into like parts of Asian culture. And I could get it. I could understand, but maybe that's why I just be waiting. Whoever is out there, You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna love them the same. If you don't want for me. How hard do you think it is finding like relationships these days?
Very.
Why?
Because everyone is, like I said, everyone thinks the same. Or everyone wants to do what everybody else is doing. No one wants to be different. So that's why I feel like, you know, the boyfriend that I have now, it's like he is different. You know, actually being someone who is patient, someone who is kind, someone who is willing to be different and pushing me to be different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, honestly, ever since we have gotten together, I've completely changed. My mind has completely changed on a lot of stuff. So, yeah.
What are some of those things?
When it comes to, this should already be a thing, but staying positive. But he's one of the most positive people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like he don't really do negativity. So yeah, definitely that. And when it comes to trust, before him I had extreme trust issues in guys at all. Before him I was never really in a relationship longer than 3 months. Damn. After 90 days, I would literally, on that 90th day, time is up. I'm so serious. Your time is up on that 90th day because I'm over it. But you know, seeing being with him and stuff, it was like, wow, like there's really such thing as good men, because I did have that mindset, all men are the same, you know, that they're all, but then actually meeting him and it's like, wow, there's really the ones out there who are like legit more than absolutely willing to show their emotions, who aren't afraid, who are so secure with themselves where they don't mind being sentimental, they don't mind putting themselves out there and showing real love. So yeah,
I don't know, bruh. I'm about to, I feel like whoever my wife is out there watching me and is like, I'm just waiting on you to get to the end of your journey and I'll come in after that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what, because, bruh, I'm very positive, but that attracts such a, like, people who want to be saved, and it's hard to filter through it. Like, who wants to participate in this relationship and who wants to use this relationship, like, as a so like your longest relationship was like 90 days. Like my shortest relationships were like 6 months. Like,
so before him, you know, we've been together for 2 years. Before him, it was only about 90 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't. After a certain amount of time, it's like, one thing about me, I never needed a man. Like, and when I feel like we always need each other, but when I say need a man, I meant like, I never felt like I needed a man around in order to feel loved. Yeah. Because you show me you can appreciate me, I'm more than happy to drop you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
More than happy.
I'll be trying to give people chances though. I'll give you a little, because like people talk like everybody's not like you. That's what everybody said. Everybody's not like you. So I always had to wait for people to see if they were going to become like me, but it never happens. So
stop expecting you out of others.
But that's a very tall, like, that is a very tall task, bro.
Yeah.
Because it's like, damn. Like, is any, like, what Drake say? Is there, it led me to think, is there anybody out there like me or something like that? But like, I'll be hoping. But then again, I'm from Atlanta, this city. Ugh.
Yeah. And I saw something like, he's a male speaker that I love. He be putting women and men on game. I forgot his name. It's like Stephen something. I don't know if you've heard of him. He has locks. But he said a lot of times we try to find love from people who only want to be saved, who are looking for someone. And that's 100%. Like, a lot of times we think we're loving someone and no, you're looking to be saved. 100%. You're looking for a savior, not someone. Yeah.
And they say a lot of people end up saving the person who they wish they would have had as a child. That's what you end up doing. Like, you ended up being with the person that you needed as a child. Yeah. Right? So, love is I don't know, bro.
I love it. It's a beautiful thing.
What, love?
Yeah, true love. Like, real, like, genuine. Like, for instance, like, I feel like when it comes to being in love, I feel like some people don't agree, but I feel like being in love is a two-way.
For sure.
I don't believe you can be in love with someone who's not in love with you. Reason being, love is a verb. Love is an action. So I feel like if, for instance, a lot of people think they're in love with somebody who's cheating on them, and I'm like, if that person is doing you wrong and saying fuck your feelings, how are you in love with them? They're not in love with you. I feel like it's more so where you're so insecure with yourself and you don't think you deserve better?
Partly yes, but partly I think where this concept comes from, that I get it from, is a lot of people probably think I'm like a ultra Christian because I always reference the Bible, but it's a great book of concepts though. I'll say. And I think like the concept of love, like you said, it's a verb. What does that verb mean though? Like I think it means to seek understanding, because if you look at like, I think like religious text is the only thing that searches to like define love, like, because science doesn't, theory doesn't, like, and it's that if you read the concept of it in the book, it's like to seek understanding. Sometimes those girls, they see why you're like that, like your dad was like this. I'm seeking to understand why you're like this. I want you to change, but like I also am seeing what led you to become like this. And like one of the references is like it was in Hitch. He said something, but I think he said something like I forgave you as soon as you did it, or something like that. Like some people, I understand you so much that when you make mistakes, I already forgave you. Like, and that's how some people end up in that cycle. But you can only take so much of that before you're like, all right, I gotta love myself too. Like I have to understand what this is doing to me. So I think
I just feel like certain stuff is because people, I feel like you can have, I feel like people get it confused where they have a love for someone and being in love with someone. I feel like you can have love for anybody, but I don't necessarily think you can be in love with somebody, one, for instance, who's like abusing you, or someone who, it don't even have to be, it could be someone who is financially unstable, spending both of your money, where at a point where he's not necessarily caring about the outcome. I don't think you can be in love with somebody who's not more than willing to do for your happiness. I don't think. I feel like I said, I think it's a two-way. I think it's a two-way thing. I feel like in order for you to be in love with, like I said, you can have love for anybody, but to be in love, I feel like it's a two-way thing. Otherwise, I feel like you are still with that person out of desperation, or because you have it confused and you have such a strong love for them, or because you are so insecure, or you don't want to start over. A lot of people are afraid to start over. A lot of people are afraid to be alone. That fear of being alone.
Listen, I would much rather be by myself than, because I think like what people get, and this is how you can tell who loves themselves and who doesn't though. Like I feel like if you love yourself, me being with somebody actually makes my life worse, because I have to compromise on my actions, like, because I'm trying to mold this into a one unit thing, right? Because if I get to make all my decisions throughout the day, that's perfect for me, because the day goes exactly how I wanted it to go. But a lot of people, they use people to fill voids in them, right? So like they take that in, and that's why they don't want to be alone. You sending me back to being able to make all my own decisions, that's not like a okay. I'm straight.
That's why that's why I wouldn't necessarily call it being in love. Like so many women think they're in love with men who could absolutely care less about them, and it's like no woman who truly genuinely loves herself is going to be with, no man who truly genuinely loves himself is going to be with someone who can care less about the better.
Oh no.
I don't believe someone who really loves themselves, has an understanding of what they deserve, their worth. They're not going to stay with someone who doesn't care about their worth, who doesn't care about their time, their energy, who doesn't put in energy at all.
True. Maybe I just never been in love. Maybe that's why it's been so easy for me to walk away though, because like.
See, and that's why the 90 days. I'm not in love with you. I don't. I have no feelings for you at all. Like you were there, let me rebel right fast, because my parents don't really like the idea of me dating or whatever. But it's like I'm grown now, so.
I don't think you can like know in 90 days though. I feel like first, I don't think you can like date somebody. What?
Go ahead.
I don't feel like you can date somebody. When people say date with intention, I don't think that's actually possible, Because like if I approach you and I say, how you doing? What's your name? I want to take you out on a date, right? You're going to show me what you think you need to show me to keep me regardless. At that point, you're never going to show me the real you, right? And that's why, like, I say it takes like 15 months for somebody to date me, because like I'm not going to approach you in hopes to date you. Usually I end up dating a girl who just happened to be around in the social circles. We run into each other a couple times. So we might end up having like a conversation like, oh, that's what's up. I really fuck with like the way you think. You know what I'm saying? And then we end up spending time together. It's like, this could be more. You know what I'm saying? I think if you approach somebody with like, I want to go out with you, I think you're cute, they're only going to show you their representative until they think you're not going to leave. So
So I mean I agree and disagree at the same time. I feel like certain stuff, you absolutely know. I feel like you absolutely know when they're not the one. I don't think it takes long to know when they're not the one. Maybe when they are, I feel like that does take time to grow to love someone. But I mean like certain stuff, people show themselves easily, especially if you have conversations, true genuine conversations, and you're listening. You're not just thinking about, oh, like they so fine, I just want to have sex, or you feel what I'm saying, or you're what is it? You're listening with the intent to respond, instead of listening with the intent to actually register what's coming out of that person's mouth. I feel like people reveal themselves so easily. That's what, when you have conversations with people, it's like all it takes is for someone to say a certain thing and they already showed who they are. But people don't want to do that. People want to rush into stuff like dating someone I only knew him for 4 days, go and be my boyfriend. But I feel like if people actually took the time out to have true, genuine, don't have sex, because if you have sex with somebody, you're automatically intertwined with that person. That's why everything that comes out of their mouth is going to be blocked. So I feel like when you take your time to actually listen to someone, you can save your heart. Yeah,
that's why I tell people, like, I think I can navigate like sexual activity only one or two ways, right? Either I'm gonna get to know you, I'm gonna know you before I have sex with you, or and you are going in this box to never be opened. All right, like, because like there's no way for me to decipher after that. Like, if you are the right, that's why people be thinking I be lying. Like, when's the last time you had sex? Well, people ask me things like this. I'm like, people come over. I don't want to expose people, but some people come over here, can I use your bathroom? Go in my room, come back. Like, you be fucking bitches in there, don't you? No, I be chilling, doing my YouTube, bro. And people don't believe, because some people be so thirsty for like women. But I think sex is like one of them things. You have to be strong to be able to have sex with somebody and properly evaluate them at the same time. I don't think it's possible.
That's why people don't believe me when I tell them I've never had sex.
I believe it.
But it's like people like, nah, ain't no way, because I guess that's just not a thing anymore. But when I let them know, I have a huge fear because once again, I've learned from other people's mistakes. I've never met someone who said my first time was worth it and the person who I did it with deserved it. I've never met somebody like tell me that.
But also what I would ask them is, most people tell you like your first time, it wasn't really all that big like thing that people try to make it into. Right.
Like, I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but I am expecting it to be with someone who even let's say we did it and we weren't together for 5 years after that. I at least want to say up until then he deserved it. Up until then he respected me. Up until then he showed me love. He gave me energy. Like, I at least want to be able to say that. I don't want to be able to say, oh, I gave it to somebody who was already talking to me crazy. I gave it to somebody who was already rude, disrespectful. I at least want to be able to say my first time was with somebody who worked for it. He did what he had to do to get it.
I understand. I was like that a little bit until I got to high school, bro. I was over with. But I also dated a girl who was older than me, though. So, like, I was like, I'm not gonna say I was tricked, but like I was led astray. Yeah, and it's like, cause up until then, I didn't know. I was so focused in life. I didn't know people liked me. I didn't know nothing. I just did what I had to do. Go to school, do my work, go to sports, play, go home, go to sleep, do chores, nigga, and go. That's it.
Yeah.
So in middle school, like I had girlfriends. They like put pressure on me though. Like, I want to be with you. I'm like, okay, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Had a lot of them type of girlfriends last a couple months, like 2-3 months. I'll tell her friend, like, hey, can you tell her I don't want to be with her no more? Like, I'm scared. Like,
I know that's good.
like,
Write a little note.
Facts, bruh. So that happened. But then in 7th grade, the girl I dated, she told me this thing. And she was like, so I remember like all the girls in our we called them teams in middle school, like the science, language arts, and we would switch classes between those.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, all the girls were like you and these 2 other dudes. It's like, all the girls. What girls? And she named like the people that I had. I said, they liked me, and I was with you. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like kind of in my head. So like that let me know, like, dang, people like me. I didn't think so. And like in hindsight, I was talking to my homie Broadband the other day, and I was like, there were some girls that was way faster than me in school. I just didn't know. Like, I was just going with the flow of things. Like, I didn't think nothing of it. So when I got to high school, people started putting pressure. Like find me after lunch, hold my hand, walk me to class type joint. I'm like, these people. So I feel like I was like, you said what?
That's what they don't talk about. Like,
what?
Boys, young men also being pressured as to, which is why they are the type of men that they are. Because I feel like I don't believe that every man has always been terrible. I feel like it took that one experience, or at least, maybe a couple, to add up to that. But I feel like it had to take some for him to reach that breaking point of, this is why I don't care no more.
Yeah.
This is why I don't. This is why I am a hoe. This is why I have all these, bitches and stuff. This is why I got hoes and stuff. I feel like it took that one experience for him to be like,
yeah, and it takes a lot of work to not like break into that person. Because there be days I'll be like, I might as well be a hoe, bro. Like, well, what's the purpose? Like, but I just know, like, I also understand the consequences of that too. Yeah. And what that'll do to my mental, like, I'm straight.
I can't.
I mean, it's easy from the other side of the fence, though. But once you've crossed the fence, it's like...
Yeah. And so many people have said, like, it's... sex. I've heard people say sex is not all that. It's not all the hype, when it's with people, when you're just doing it. And so I'm like, why would I rush for it to not be?
See, that's not that. I wouldn't say that's not true. I'm not gonna say it's not true. I'm not gonna say it is true. What I will say is the level of understanding people try to find in you outside of sex is the level of understanding they're gonna try to find you in sex. I'm a person. I read books. I watch documentaries on the female body. Like, I do things like that because I want to be able to be knowledgeable enough to, like, the same way I'm able to walk you through your emotions if I make you feel a way, for us to have a level conversation. I want that to translate to, like, the bedroom, right? But what I've learned is, like, a lot of people are very surface. That's why they sex be very surface. Yeah. That's why sex ain't all that. Right. It's not because y'all is just surface people. Like, that's it. Because once you learn how to unlock certain things in people, like, the same way people see me and they be like, you're just different. Like, that is the same thing in the sexual manner. That's why I tell people, like, I'm not trying to be out here ruining people's lives, because, like, if I don't want you, I don't want you to have this feeling here, because then you feel like you're gonna need it. I listen, this is
I can definitely admit I am not in a mature time in my life where I'm ready for those, because where I'm ready for that mental, emotional, and spiritual consequence that comes with sex. Because I haven't had it, but I do know it's not just, that physical thing. I do know, seeing from other people, how it has messed them up. I'm not mature enough for that yet.
I would say, like, as long as you know that, like, keep it that way. You know what I'm saying? But also, just like you figured out everything else in life, like, and came out on the better side of it, right? Or if you feel like you came out on the better side of it, that is one thing that you can still come out on the better side of, because there are people who I've come across with. That's why people call themselves like healers and stuff like that on the internet, and like I believe because there are healing properties in having sex, like there are. So there are people who don't mind. Like, I mean, it helps you have a better day. Like, I don't really care. I enjoy it. Type. There's some people who can function like that, right? And I have come across one person like that in my life. Two, actually. Two. The first time I didn't know. But the second time, that it could really have you on some like, once you take care of that thing in your brain, that dopamine releases and erases that depression that you're going through, and you're able to navigate the world. Like, it's like when people say like, oh, you got a little glow, you got a little pep in your stuff, what you been doing? When people say that, that's because that really like mentally healed them of certain things. But I guess it's like one of them things, like if you don't know, you don't know. Like, but when you do know, like it's like it could be scary because you get that from the wrong person. It could be over.
Yeah,
like.
see, yeah. Like, I'm thinking it might have healing properties or whatever, but I also think it's very damaging if it's not with the right person or at the right time.
I just trust myself to walk away, right? I trust myself to like, this ain't the right person. I'm straight.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the second girl, neither one of them was the right person. Because the first one, she called me after and was like, then she told me, I'm gonna leave my boyfriend for you. I said, ooh. News to me. Like, I didn't know you had a boyfriend, but you know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know.
I didn't.
Okay, yeah. See, no, thank you.
But see, I told her, I was like, if you do this to him, what do you think I think you gonna do to me, bruh? 100%. Like, and I was able to walk away from it. The other one was the same thing. She was older than me. She was like a lot older. She was like 13, 14 years older than me. And she was like, I'm about to buy a house. I'm like, I'm 21, all right? Like, I don't. And she was like, and thinking about it, it was because she probably wouldn't have cared. Like, I probably could have. But I'm a person, if I'm with I want to participate in my relationship. Yeah. I don't want to feel like it's one-sided. So I was like, she came. She was like, I told my friends we're dating. I was like, what do you mean by dating? Like, this is after that conversation.
So I'm scared for my little brother because it's like I be telling him, like, because he's so handsome, and I just feel like what people he got people in his head, little girls in his head, telling him he's so fine and stuff. It's gonna get, like, I pray to God it doesn't get to him where a point where he just messed with the wrong one, because all it takes is one. I be telling him, don't fuck with these grimy bitches. These, don't you dare, because I don't want to have to take a plane to be.
Who you think more grimy, girls or dudes?
Females. Very much so.
Why?
And because I feel like it's because they're women, and because society does not hold women accountable. So if they do something, it's always going to be justified. If a woman does something, it's because, she wasn't taught. Her dad wasn't in her life, and this is what happened. If a guy does something dirty, it's because niggas ain't shit, and they just do it anyway. They're dogs anyway. So I feel like that's why 100% women are grimier, because they know they can get away with it.
That's crazy. I don't know, like, because I done heard some. I think I just think there's grimy people and not grimy people. Yeah. Because, like, some of the stuff I done seen dudes do, I don't even like participating in it. Like, that's why I can't be friends with people who are like, who have infidelity issues. Because, like, listen, if you were willing to do this to the girl who puts your weenie in her mouth, all right, what are you going to do to me? Like, and like some of the things I done seen dudes, and like once I find out people are cheaters, like my relationship with them just starts to deteriorate over time, because like now I know who you are, like, but girls, they be keeping they joint. But see, I was always friends with girls, so I knew what was going on. Yeah. Like, I know y'all ain't shit. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, females can be very like the fact that women, we don't talk about how a lot of times so many young men lost their virginities to like their babysitters. I had a friend who, he was like 13 years old. He said his babysitter drugged him. That was his first time having sex. Damn. And he doesn't realize that Like, dude, you're a whole victim. Like, that you don't realize that happened to you. And if what I have yet to understand how it is okay for women to do these type of things. It's or no one talks about it or whatever. But if a man does it, he's automatically a terrible person, whatever. But it's not talked about. People don't talk about how women can truly be the reason for why men are such messed up people.
Yeah.
Or why men can be such, I
think it's because of the dynamic that the people who do the judging have, the bias in their head they have throughout life. Because it's like when dudes do things bad, is looked at as overpowering, right? You overpowered this person to do this to them, right? And women typically is like she's kind of like at the bottom, so like did she really do something wrong? So it's like those inherent biases of like natural selection, that women aren't really like the dangerous ones, right? That bias just sticks. Because you see teachers going to jail for 3 years, but they trying to, a dude, Texas, 17, you're done.
Exactly. So, you're going under the jail, bro.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, and even like stuff like that on the news. If a female teacher sleeps with her student, then it's like teacher had sexual relations with. But if a guy does, you gonna see you gonna see the whole word on it. He gonna get the whole everything. So yeah, I feel like the double standard is crazy.
What's another double standard that you see between like guys and girls?
When it comes to age, if an older man dates a younger woman, all hell breaks loose. Yeah. If an older woman dates a younger man, she's a cougar. They got a name for them.
I mean, they call them silver foxes, right? For dudes, something like that.
Is that what I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I think it's like called it's not, obviously it's not as popular.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it's like, it's totally, if it's an older woman with a young, go on with your bad self, she living the youth life. But if he's messing with somebody younger, then it's like, you're a whole pedo.
I never and that's real that you say that, because I remember this lady, I don't want to get her in trouble, you know what I'm saying? I thought she was a good person, I don't know. But she always used to call me like, you're my little boyfriend, right? When she was like my mom age. Yeah. And this my little boyfriend. I didn't know what that did to me, like, over the course of time. And there was a lot of women who did that, like, oh, my little boyfriend. I would see them, because I thought I didn't know, like that, man.
Yeah, stuff like that is, and that's why I say my little brother, because he looks older. He's only like he's like 14.
Yeah.
And he looks older. He's taller than me. Look like a grown man. Older women flirting with him, calculating, trying to, where he at? Want to see him and stuff. What is you doing? You a whole grown ass. This is a little boy. You're a pedophile. Yeah. And it's like, no one wants to call women that. No, I don't know why, but women can't be called that for some reason. And it's like, when it comes to taking advantage of during, for instance, sex, society only sees that men can only take advantage of women. And I feel like women can 100% take advantage of men. If they see them in a vulnerable place, if they see them, I feel like women drug men as well. But ain't nobody gonna talk about that. A man can't go to a police station and say, I was drugged and she did that to me. A man can't do that, because people gonna be looking at him like, what? Yeah. You let a woman who looks that size do you like that? It's always what do you call it? It's only victim blaming when it's a woman. Yeah. It's only victim blaming when it's a woman. If she, decides to go to a party with people she doesn't know, and she taking drugs and stuff, if something happens to her, then it's other people's fault. Which, it's their fault 100%. But no one's gonna hold her accountable. Oh, yeah. If a guy, don't let it be a black guy, let's say he decides to go in a high crime place with chains and a stack of cash, if he get robbed, he's to blame. Well, you should never did that. Well, what are you doing in the hood, with chains and stuff? It's not gonna be, why did those people rob him? It's bad to rob. You get what I'm saying? I feel like it's only victim blaming if it's a woman.
Like, how I respect it, you know what I'm saying? Like, holding everybody equally accountable. Do you ever feel like you get pushback from like women for saying things like this?
I feel like I would. I don't necessarily talk about people in person, just because it's hard to talk to people about certain stuff, because they get offended like that. they get offended. It's hard to have civilized conversations.
I've had some very bad conversations with guys who were my friends, girls, because I'm gonna say what it look like. I tell people like, bro, you using them, why don't you just say that you're using this person, bro. Like, I'm not gonna judge you no different, because I would never let myself be in a situation that you have that person. But like, look, what you're doing, stop acting like you don't know what you're doing to people. Like, and people always play boo boo the fool, you know. Oh, I don't know what's going, you know exactly what you're doing, exactly. Right? And that's what my word to all my friends. They see me hang around girls all the time. They're like, oh, Holla got the girl. Listen, y'all do not want these girls, bruh, because they are terrible people for sure. But like, I've even had falling outs with like friends where I'm like, bro, what you're doing is fucked up. Like, why would you do that? Man, well, you don't understand. No. Would you want that done to you? No, it's different. Like, no, it's not, bro. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard for me to have female friends, because I can't listen to them constantly blame men for everything. Yeah. Like, one of, I'm going to talk to her more, but, she was constantly sleeping around or whatever, and she was the first one, men ain't shit. She was the first one, oh, men ain't shit. For as soon as the dick appointment calls, she go on her way. She'll drive, waste gas and everything that goes, and then right after she has sex with him and say it's bad or whatever, and then it's men ain't shit. But I'm like, that's why I can't have a bunch of female friends, because they blame men for everything. Yeah, they blame men for everything. Have a friend who who already knew that the dude she had a baby with wasn't shit. Already knew that, yet she still chose to date him. Knew he wasn't shit before they dated. Knew he wasn't shit before they had sex. Knew he wasn't shit before she had his baby. Yeah, blaming him. It's all his fault. He's always been that way. And then I would ask, why are you still with him? Yeah, the sex. This is the three things that I hear. Cause he fine, cause he got money, or cause the sex is so good. It's never because
he's a good person.
It's never because, they can't just admit I'm afraid to be alone. I don't love myself. I don't understand who I am. But it's the sex, because he fine or he got money.
Listen, there's nobody good looking enough that got enough money or no coochie I done came across that I'm willing to be miserable. It's not.
I mean, some people,
they're crazy. But I think because some people find other people as a means to an end, because that's all they know. Yeah. They know my parents took care of me as best they could, and they handed me off to the streets. Yeah. And that's it. I feel like that's where most people's things come from. And some people, they just want to struggle. Like, I have friends who came from great homes. Like, you don't got to be out here claiming the struggle that you have, but you do. And I think a lot of it is music, though. A lot of it.
Yes, very much so.
And I don't think it's necessarily the message in the music. Sometimes it is, but I think it's the frequency of the music, right? Because I learned when you listen to music that's sped up, you start to rush through life. I feel like your body tries to get on pace with the music you take in. Even if you're listening to instrumentals. That's why some people who just be chilling, they put on Lo-Fi Girl, you know what I'm saying? Or some R&B, and they be chilling. Yeah. But some people, it's heavy metal, drill music, something that's gonna speed your heart up.
I think the message does, though.
I think the message is secondary, though.
I think that's the first thing. I feel like because even what people who do slow, for instance, Summer Walker, her music is slow. I feel like her message still makes black women sad and angry at black men. 100%.
I don't really listen to her, so I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Her music is for depressed black women. That's that's her audience.
Angry. So she's like the female Brent Faiyaz.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I feel like, especially, with Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls and all them, it has 100% influenced, especially the women my generation, 100% influenced them on when it comes to finding a man. Now you constantly hear, you can't make a certain amount of money if you want to mess with me and stuff. Meanwhile, she on unemployment.
True. And they're in relationships. Can't forget that part.
That's the thing. That is the thing. Meanwhile, the ones who are you see Young Miami, you know, she's supposed to be a city girl. She at the BET Awards holding a whole poster of Are you for real? Are you for real? So I'm just like that. But I feel like a lot of times we completely forget they're entertainers. Yeah. They're not mentors. They get that, and I feel like especially my generation and maybe other generations completely get it confused. They're not here to mentor us. They're not life mentors. They're here to entertain us. Yeah. They're here to give us something we want to listen to when we're not doing nothing, or you know, they're here to give us that, you know, just look. They're not here to tell us who to date, how to date. That's not their job.
But that's why I feel like good music lasts forever, because like when you put a good message into the music, it lasts a little bit longer than like the microwave music. So that's why I try like to put. I joke a lot, especially in like my reaction videos. I tell a lot of jokes that I don't mean, like, but like I make sure that I'm joking. All right, listen, don't. But I feel like if you consume enough of my content, you'll realize like, all right, he kind of just wants people to be a good person, you know what I'm saying? But with the music, it's just, I don't know why, because I think guys take it literal too. Because like when I listen to drill music, what I hear is competition, because that's what I grew up in. I grew up in sports. I don't hate you because you on the other team, but like while we between these lines, we playing a game, right? I think people don't understand that in the streets. It's the same thing. Like if you're not in the game, in between these lines, they not talking to you, right? And but this is the reality of what's going on, all right? Yeah. So when I listen to drill music, it's more of like all right, I could take this and adapt this to business. Like these are the people who are against me. These are the people who are for me. These are my homies that, you know what I'm saying, y'all tried to destroy my homie career, you know what I'm saying, with certain content. That's how I look at it. Yeah. Like it's, or business. Like when I worked in commission-based jobs, like, oh, we about to, these clothes, what are their products? Yeah. I'm selling my product just like Rick Ross talk about selling his product. Like that's what it is. You say what?
I love Rick Ross.
Facts.
I have hugest crush on him.
Really? You seen his house?
I've seen his house.
Yeah. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Rick Ross, hit my girl up, you know what I'm saying? Type.
But yeah, my boyfriend's, you know, a bigger dude.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what's up. What do you think about like that stereotype of people who judge like bigger people?
What do you mean? Like, which stereotype? They got
like,
a couple of them.
I did a public interview, and this guy and this girl, she was like a, you know what I'm saying? She was, but I think by most men's standards, she would be like bad, right? And he was like a bigger dude. And then like I showed somebody the clip, and it was like, how he get her, right? How, I think attractive people, they get it, or people who are body types are more normalized, they have this misconception that their body's not getting judged, so sometimes they judge other people's who are different. How is that like being in a relationship?
Well, like he gets it all the time, you know, when he'll show people a picture of me or whatever, and they're like, no, there's no way that's your girlfriend or whatever, and people, what you, that's your man, really? Yeah, 100%. And people wouldn't see me as, you know, I guess who, I don't know. I don't know what I would rate myself, but they wouldn't see women who look like me dating, you know, a bigger guy or whatever. But I'm like, people don't understand. Everyone likes stuff different, and I feel like way more people like bigger dudes, but because society, you know, doesn't really deem that to be, you know, whatever, so they rather date someone who, they rather be with somebody who look like they're supposed to be with, you know. And I'm like, I've always admired bigger guys. I've always especially when they're confident, especially when they smell good. Oh, don't smell good. Don't smell good, but you know, especially like, and it's like when it comes to confidence, you can be a bigger dude if you have confidence. That is so sexy.
That's why I try to tell all my guy friends, because I ain't gonna lie, most of my dude friends that most women would deem attractive, they are so insecure, and it's crazy. But I also had a podcast with a girl who was dark skinned back when we were in school. She was like the thicker one. Everybody was like, yo, look at blah blah blah. And she said, that became all she was to people,
Yeah.
right? So it was hard for her to know who really liked her. Like being bigger, like, you know, like if you fucking with me, you gotta be fucking with me for me. So that's where kind of where you could get your confidence from.
Yeah.
Like even though like people may look at it like people joke on you a lot, but the people who do like you, you know that they like you. You don't never have to guess.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where the confidence comes from. But I tell all my friends, just be confident, bro. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause you can like even for women, you could be fine or whatever, but as soon as you're insecure, it can only get you so far in that relationship. And I hate that women think that, oh, have it for the longest time. I'm still, you know, trying to get better at it, but for the longest time, I'm like, I have to have a fat booty. Like I have to have a fat booty in order to be attracted. For the longest time, I'm still working on it. But as time is going on, I'm realizing like, damn, even thick girls are hating on me, like little old me. And so it's like it has to be something else that's attracting these men and that's attracting these other people.
I would say this too, though. Like you're only 20, bro. Like the changes that your body is gonna go through in your 20s, even your 30s. I feel like I can't speak for other races, all right, because I ain't seen enough. I feel like black women peak at like 35.
That's what my grandma said.
Yeah, I feel like they be. I'm not gonna say they be fine, but like they be like, I'm gonna marry you around like 35. Like when you see like, especially somebody who's worked on themselves, like you could tell somebody who has made, and it doesn't necessarily mean like skinny, petite, or you know what I'm saying, firm, or none of that. Like you could tell somebody who has taken in positivity in their life, right? And by the time that you just see it, and it's like, listen, what you trying to do, all right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel. So, but some people think the opposite. Some people chase their heyday and try to date younger people. I don't see the benefit because, like, did y'all know how like space headed? But some dudes like that though.
Yeah.
Because like I can control this situation. Some dudes need control. I don't want control. I want you to live your own life, please, because I got to take care of mine. Like, so what makes you jealous in a relationship?
It makes me jealous. Oh, that's a good question. Well, like being in a long distance relationship, it does make me just a little jealous when he goes out. Because I'm like, I'm out here and I'm not going out like that, you know, makes me jealous. I'm like, I want to go out too. But that's honestly just kind of it. Or like if he's hanging out with somebody who looks like his type. Like if he's
but you're his type, that's why he with you.
Exactly, and I know his type. That's why certain things I'm like, oh, she looks like, you know, your type or whatever, you know. But sometimes I be joking because I know 100%. I know. Yeah. But it's like still certain stuff. I'm like, she your type. Why you hanging out with her? I would never tell him no, you can't hang out with them or nothing. You know, you're a grown man and stuff. Because I would never want him to tell me I can't hang out with somebody. But at the same time, I'm still like, why?
That is too, like, what do you mean like hanging out though? Like going out to the, like, what do you mean?
So like if it's like him with you know like a girl and you know the rest of his guys and stuff, because he usually goes out with his guys, but there's always, you know, maybe a couple girls that go with or whatever. And if it's like someone who looks like his type, you know, chocolate, big titties, and I'm like,
but he don't like that because he's with you though. Yeah. You're not like chocolate, big titties, so you should be fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of times it's the mind though. Like if somebody fall in love with your mind, there's nothing people could do.
100%.
I feel like people need to stop trying to make people fall in love with their body, because your body can be exchanged. There's somebody who look better than you. Yeah. 100%. But nobody is gonna know what to say to them more than you because you spend the most time with them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why the older I've gotten, the more I've like learned to understand, like you can have the body and all that, but if the energy that you come up with, if you don't come with that energy that tells a man that you're a ride or die, or that you gonna be down for him or whatever, then it's none of that's gonna matter.
Yeah. What do you think, in your experience, what do you think guys are most insecure about?
In my experience, oh, I would say they're insecure about when it comes to their emotions. When it comes to showing their emotions, a lot of times men can be very insecure when it comes to doing that, to being emotional, just because the world tells them they can't necessarily, or they shouldn't, or whatever.
I seen this guy on TikTok. He said like a very good thing. He was like, whenever he talks, and I know this to be true. I wish somebody would have told me this, because I could have spent like a lot less time in relationships. But they said when you bring a problem to your girl and she says, "So why are you with me then?" Because now you've taken the conversation away from his discomfort to make it about you. I'm like, I wish, why didn't somebody give me this? Because like I could have literally got like 6 years of my life back. Right. But I think that's why dudes don't share, because they like, I want you, but like every time I voice like something that I feel like will make the relationship better, you make it about, oh well, I mean we could just not be together then. I feel like it's like emotional manipulation.
I'm not gonna lie, I can say, especially the beginning when I first moved out here and stuff, when we were doing that long distance, I definitely was bad at that.
For real.
100%. Yeah, why are you with me? Do you still love me? You know, out of all the women that you could, you know, possibly be with, why you pick me? You know, stuff like that. So.
And that's so dangerous though. Like, because like I feel like there's a certain level of like transparency that you will want that though. Like I feel like it's okay for you to feel like that, because I'm gonna make you not feel like that, right? But then once they know, then it's like I got you right where I want you now. Like that's the danger. So I don't know. That's crazy. Cause like, and I think where it stems from though, and I can tell this from other people's relationships, is like a lot of times we used to watch sitcoms growing up or TV, and we have like an unrealistic way that relationships are supposed to be functioning. So like you watch something like Fresh Prince, him and Lisa, right? There's certain jokes, you know it's a joke, and you think when you get out in the real world, you think other people are joking, and you realize they not joking. It's like, oh damn, I was just trying to replicate like that. And a lot of people end up like with people who don't have the same ideology when stuff happens. Like, but I feel like if a girl, like if she cried, then I'll be like, all right, maybe we're not joking. All right. But like most people would I just feel like in hindsight, I feel like I was so easily manipulated into like, oh, you don't want to be with me? I should have just been like, I got to the point where I was like, whatever, bro. Like, I don't care. I'm not about to change your mind. Like, so, but what do you think helped you get past that?
A lot of prayer, honestly. And actually studying and trying to be consistent when it comes to being positive. Like kind of more so, like for instance, every morning I wake up, I look in the mirror and I just go in on myself like, you're gorgeous, you got this, continue to like, and it's definitely something that has like helped me, just changing my mindset completely and understanding that there are so many more important things in life, so many more, and life is way too short to be worrying about out of all the things to worry about your body. You should not be worrying about that, because it's perfectly okay. It's
Do you feel like you get that sick? Because I feel like the response that people would give, like a lot of like people your size, are like, why do you worry about your body? Because a lot of people who try to lose weight, they say, if I could change, I would, right? And a lot of the slimmer people, they actually like want to put on a little bit of weight, but like people don't understand that the struggle is the same. Like
100%.
I want to get somewhere bigger, you want to get something. We both kind of want to be in the middle of where we're at. And like I feel like people discredit like I don't want to use the wrong term, but like the body dysmorphia, I think it's called, of like people who like, I want my body to look like this. I feel like people don't credit the people who are slimmer for the same type of emotional trauma that comes with that, because that body style is looked at as good. So
it has like like I said, like my friends have always, all my friends were always thicker than me. Like always, I was always a slim friend. So now like I've tried to make it a goal to gain weight, but it's hard. It's hard to like. It can be just. I tell people this all the time. It can be just as hard to gain weight as it is to lose weight, because especially if you have a fast. I have a fast ass metabolism. Like it don't take much. I can eat everything.
And you smoke? That's crazy.
No, I haven't done. I don't do it often.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
The last time I done it was like last year. Yeah, but it's like, and I dance. I'm active or whatever, so it's so hard to gain weight. Like for a whole month, I went to the gym and stuff and lost it like that because I didn't go for a whole week. It was just gone. It's gone. It's hard to gain weight, so that's why I'm just like, just love your body. It's okay. It's great.
How much bigger do you think that you want to get?
My goal, I want to say, is like right now I'm like 145, 150. It goes, but my goal is kind of like 160, 170.
That's so crazy. Cause I know people that's like a 180. They're like, I just want to be a 160. Right?
I know, but we're never satisfied. We're as humans, but I feel like that's nature. I feel like that's nature. We're never actually gonna be satisfied.
I think the satisfaction comes in tomorrow, right? That's what I try to tell people. Even girls I dated who wanted to lose weight or gain weight, cause I dated both, and I would tell them, stop looking at the scale. Yeah. Because is that going to change what you're going to do today to get to where you need to be? Because literally all you're doing is setting disappointment every day. You're going to check to see if I'm still disappointed. Like just tomorrow, if it's the gym or if it's cooking or if it's I don't know what else people would do to like lose or gain weight, but just do that tomorrow. And then the next day, do that tomorrow, and you'll be fine. Like, and I really credit like YouTube to that, because like I just did it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was in class doing a PowerPoint presentation when I had 2,000 subscribers on my main channel, and like I just did the right thing. And I look up and I remember that I'm like, dang, I had to. Now I got 180,000. Like, if you would have told me that back then, I would have. You're lying. I'd never get there. But like I think like if you just tomorrow do the right thing. The next day, do the right thing, and you keep on that cycle. You'll look back a year at pictures. You be like, can you believe I was this skinny, bro? That's crazy. But you'll be where you want to be. So I think that's like a good mindset. Have you ever been cheated on?
No.
You ever cheated? What? Why?
I mean, shouldn't be making excuses. Can't make excuses.
It was on the 89th day, wasn't it?
No. It was actually with the person I'm with now.
Okay.
Yeah. I basically had phone sex. I don't know why I put that in quotes, but I had phone sex with somebody on the phone. And yeah.
Hold up. So you cheated with this person that you're with now, or
I cheated on.
So, okay, we don't have to like go too deep into that, like, but like what, because I always try to get like what's made you like get to that point?
The full point of desperation. Like when I tell you, I knew I hit rock bottom. I knew I hit rock bottom with it, because like try to keep up that perception. Oh, I'm a good girl, and yeah, I don't do wrong, and and then when I finally hit that point, I was like, fuck, like there's something truly genuinely wrong with me. Like I really have to find something, like I need help type stuff. And it was like, and it was actually, I'm not gonna say it was recent, but it was like, and so I was desperate completely. Like I said, long distance and stuff, which is like, damn, why did I? But it was like I knew I felt lonely. Like I felt lonely, and I was fighting demons I didn't know existed. Like I was seeing stuff and experiencing things in my life that I didn't know I could possibly experience and stuff, and it was just like I was weak, 100%. And I hit rock bottom.
I would say that too, like in this it's hard, like, to go through stuff like that because, like, you know the consequences of your actions. And, like, but I think that's, like, the whole idea of forget. Like, most people, if you, like, people know who's a good person to them and who's not. I'm not saying, like, in this situation, but people will find forgiveness. Like, it's okay to do things that people may perceive as, like, wrong, right? Sometimes. But sometimes it's in your best interest, because your interest can't be everybody's all the time. And, like, obviously when you're in a relationship, that's kind of like some type of agreement. But even in other stuff, don't be afraid to, like, dang, people might be upset at me for, like, this friendship. I'm not going to show up, or I'm not going to do this, because you'll find yourself a lot less stressed. Like, that's why they say people who are always late to parties are less stressed, because they don't feel the need to be punctual for people. And once you get out of that, as long as you make a decent effort in life, people will accept most of the stuff you do, and you'll find yourself less, like, stressed on the inside.
Yeah, I definitely learned my lesson.
Yeah,
100%. Like, just that feeling, that guilty, like, I don't like that. It was like, I can never do that again, just because it was just...
How was, like, that conversation of, like, you letting him know?
So we kind of, like, took a break or whatever, and I told him, and he didn't talk to me for like 4 days. Sucked. Yeah, completely sucked. I couldn't be mad, because it was like, you know, he could have done anything else. He could have cussed me out. He could have completely said, no, fuck you, I'm done with you. But he was just like, I need a break. I truly need a break, and I had to accept it. Never want to do it again, though.
That's good, though. That's good that he found, because I don't think I have that in me. Well, I don't think phone sex is, like, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Like, I'm not saying this whatever, but I'm, like, to the point in my life, like, I prefer honesty over anything. So if you could be honest, like, most stuff don't really bother me. Like, because if you're first, I want to know beforehand, right? So if somebody was like, people think I'm crazy, but if my girl called me and she was like, in Jamaica with her friends, she called me like, yo, I'm really drunk, and there's this nigga at the pool, I might fuck him. If you called me and said, if you were man, I don't want to say man enough, if you were felt strongly enough in the actions you were about to make to call me, I can't do nothing but respect it. So I'm gonna tell you, like, yo, listen, that's crazy, but if you do, just make sure, like, you don't use please don't get this nigga IG.
Oh my gosh.
Me personally, like, because, like, honest, because now I know it. One, it will never pop up to me out of nowhere. Like, and two, like, you were real about it. It's when people try to hide stuff that bother me. Like, so even if you told me after, I'd probably be like, that's fucked up. Phone sex, probably not. Sex, I'll be like, But also, if I've been in a long distance relationship, I told her, I'm like, why you out there? Just do you, my nigga. Like, because there are certain needs people need met. Like, and if I'm not there, who am I to tell you? Just because I'm strong enough to do it with this distance, don't mean I should subject you to because I be working a lot. Like, the idle mind, bad things will happen. And if you just trying to go to school, go to work, go home, you have a lot more idle time. I literally fill my time with things that I need to do, like, because I have a certain goal. Your goal may be work that requires you to have more idle time. Yeah. So I told her, I was like, listen, but just be honest. Just tell me what be going on, like, so I could make the judgments myself. But then then she started hiding stuff. That's where our relationship started going downhill. It's because, like, you didn't have to lie to me. I told you, just be honest with me. Like, she was lying. That damaged our whole relationship. And we never recovered from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have, like, for some reason, I have, like, this guilty conscience, like, you know, like, that's something that you just get. Like, if you don't say it, you're gonna continue to get that feeling. You're gonna go to sleep with that feeling. You're gonna wake up with that feeling, and hearing him, you know, kind of brag about me. Oh yeah, she's loyal. Just felt bad. Like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And I hated that feeling, so I had to tell him, because I feel so bad if I didn't.
Yeah, that's good though. Well, I don't know. Cause I know some people, they should take it to the grave. Cause, like, I debate with that about other things that have happened in my life. Should I take it to the grave, or should I let somebody know? Let these people know the reality of the situation. And sometimes like it's like a catch-22, because I could let you know and I could destroy your image of like what you think the rest of your life is going to be, or what you thought it actually was, or I could bear the burden for my actions and just die with it. That way you could live in. That's why, listen, there's only two ways to love me. You can either do the right thing, or you can do the wrong thing and hide it so well that I can't even tell it happened. Them the only two ways. But other than that, if you not good enough at hide, then don't do it, or just let me know. All right, that's it. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad I let him know. I felt like I just felt, and I told him, I was like, I'm about to tell you this with the knowledge that you just may never speak to me again, and I just had to sit with that. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I was okay with that, but I'm like, it's the consequence that's gonna happen. I can't blame nobody else but myself if you never want to talk to me again. Yeah. But, yeah.
I'm glad y'all got through that though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Way better.
Working.
Especially because now I'm busy. Because during that time, you know, it was hard. You know, he has friends out there, family. He partying. He going to different events and stuff. Out here, I don't have nobody.
Yeah.
I don't have I have my aunt out here and stuff, but she got her life, so basically I'm technically out here by myself.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I just felt a moment where it's like I want somebody to finally make me feel important. So, but yeah.
How often are y'all able to like see each other?
Anywhere between every 3 to 4 months.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Well, I guess now with like post-COVID prices, them Denver flights are nuts. Like three something. So.
Yeah, I mean, we FaceTime each other every day, and it truly feels like he's in my presence. So,
really?
Yeah, so I've learned to grow and accept it, and just kind of have that mentality of like, if it's meant, it's gonna continue. If it's meant, it's gonna continue.
Yeah, so. That's what's up. All right, because y'all better than me, cause like if I'm in a long distance relationship, like do something with your time, right? Cause I'm doing something with mine.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I'm finally doing stuff. Cause now it doesn't fade. Now it's like the long distance. It's long distance. It's long. That's still my man, but he's far. I'm doing stuff. I'm busy. I don't got time to. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
So what are your plans with Atlanta while you're out here for whatever stint?
Dance. I definitely want to find like some different stuff with dance, and my plans out here are definitely to save up as much money to own property out here. This is such a beautiful place, and I refuse to live in apartment after apartment after. My goal is not to live in a luxury apartment. That's not my goal. I'll be damned if I live in a luxury apartment and I could never say I owned an actual house. Like I want everybody in my family, other than my mom and my dad's mom, everybody live in an apartment. And I'm like, I'll be damned. I have to be able to buy property. That's my goal out here.
That's good. You know, you invest in stuff?
Yeah, I want to learn how to do all that. Yeah, I'm studying.
I will say like this, like properties are good things to pass on to people that they'll know what to do with it, right? The thing about investments is like the trajectory of companies changes. So if I have like a stock portfolio that I have like my kids as benefactors and I die, they get those investments. If they don't know what to do with them, they can lose the money. Yeah. I think property is a safe investment, but I feel like it's like it's not that it's like how can I say this? It's not the best investment. I see how it works though, because my parents, they moved to a neighborhood, they got their house for like $108,000. The community develops around you, right? Yeah. Things progress, and now that Atlanta is growing the way it is, they could probably sell their house in 5 to 6 years for maybe like $600,000-700,000, right? They take that, they move to $100,000 house and live with the. So I see that part of housing, which is good. I just prefer to be a little bit richer than everybody else. And once you can learn how investments work, like the closing cost on a house, $30,000-$40,000, depending on how much. $20,000, depending on how much the property is. You could take that, you invest that properly, but you live in like a a townhome or a condo or a luxury apartment,
Yeah.
your investments can actually outpace what you will earn in a 30-year fixed mortgage over 30 years. And at the end of that, you don't need a buyer to get your money. You can just take the money. And even if my kids were a benefactor, I would probably buy them property with my benefits.
Yep.
And that way they could either sell the property or keep it and run their funds. But the more you look into finance, the more you'll learn. You don't need like the house if you're gonna live in it. The only time you need a house is if somebody else is gonna live in it. That's the only way it's the proper investment for like generational wealth. So yeah, but that's it. You have any questions for me before we head up out of here?
No, I think, yeah.
Good conversation.
Yeah, it's a
Sure. Yeah, we definitely got to collab some more. We'll lock in on that. But tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, on like Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, everything.
My YouTube is The Real Trendsetter. That's TRINSETTER. And that's my Instagram as well, The Real Trendsetter.
Yes, make sure y'all follow her. I will link that down below. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Very good conversation. You know what I'm saying? This podcast will be on Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, all that great stuff. I'm going to do it. All right, listen. August 1st. I will drop an episode a day until I drop all the episodes. That's my word. And if I don't do it, I'll delete the channel. So with that on the line, I'm going to do it. All right. But listen, y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. And until the next time I see y'all, peace.